shack at? The bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
Cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers. Happy Wednesday, November 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We have a monster show for you guys today. 3 quick NHL games, and I've moved on all of them. Then we move on to college basketball. We start with Daby Cab. He's got best bets on 3 games. Then we move on to Mike M, who's got best bets on 5 games. By the way, Daby Cab has started the year in college basketball here on the show 10-4, 71.4% ROI plus 40.29% plus 5.64 units. Then we get into college football. And I'm so excited. We got DJ Big Boss and the Big Ragoo joining us. The Boss and the Sauce. I pulled out my old Boss and the Sauce shirt. Pumped up. Boss and the Sauce. We're going to break down all 10 conference championship football games. Then we get into NBA with Dutch Boy Fresh. I like it. We're packed today. We got Fat Win in the house. Fat Win with a move on Australian racing. Mackay Race won the 6 Torca deal. At odds $34, 33-1. He's going win place. Look at that. Fat Win. I love it. Thank you for sharing that with us. Fat Win, my guy. Copy and paste that right there. We got Jay Smooth ready to get to work. Michael Johnson, Justin McElvey. Stacks play of the day is in as well. Stacks play of the day is in. Let's copy and paste this here. College basketball, and that we're going to be in college basketball in like 23 minutes. So we're going to be fast and furious, firing on all cylinders here. Records are here for everything. Ken Wood made his first bet online deposit today, so let's get it. Nice job, Ken Wood. Hope you got that big 100% bonus through our website. But regardless, love that you're on Bet Online because we have a new poker tournament coming up. We're not going to announce it yet, but we're going to announce it soon because we want people to start entering it as soon as possible. We have a bit of different twist on it too. We're going to try to make it exciting. Paco Healy in the house. Ian Shaver. There's Big Ragoo in the house. Slatsy says, how do we bet the Kings today, Jimmy? Look, I bet them on the -1 line. That's the only, in other sports, I'm looking for, how where's the trap? Where are we walking into the trap? Not in NHL. And I've said that over and over again. I tried, I can't wait to talk about NHL because we got 3 games. I've moved on all of them. Look, I'm on all the favorites, all the home favorites, and the only spot where there could be some complacency is with the Kings because they haven't played since Saturday night when they won their 5th straight game. Now, the fact that they're on the winning streak helps us, and I think the Capitals are a bad hockey team. Their record does not show how bad they are. We'll talk all about that. I moved on them. There's Razor Sharp picks in the house. Running hot. Great to see you. Razor, Ian Shaber, Al Cervic. Let's some Chattanooga over 152.5 in 50 minutes. Quality Wednesday D-Gen action. Von Polo ready to go. Dav Fenn ready to go. Says he likes Lipscomb in this game at noon. Mikey M. Michael Johnson says Kings under. No, I did not move on the Kings under. It's not that I don't like it. It's not that at all. It's just that the Kings have been off since Saturday. The winning streak will keep them somewhat sharp, but there is a bit of a concern for some sloppiness in this one. I don't dislike it, and we'll go over it. Mikey M says NHL overs on Wednesday, hitting at a stupid rate. Auto bet and move on. And there's Paco Healy on the Florida Gators -5. Great to see all of you guys here in the chat. I think we should just get right to work. We have a huge card, and Daby Cab joining us shortly to get NCAA, and then Mikey M to follow suit. So it is great to see all of you guys. A couple things that are extremely important to us. Mostly, we have Pubapalooza 2024 on the horizon. Can you believe it's already on the horizon? I'm so excited. Just a few more months I have to get through. I have to get through, 3.5 more months before I'm there in San Antonio in the warmth and booze of Southtown 101. Oh, man. God, I can't wait for that. Can't wait. That is Friday, Saturday, Sunday events. So fly in at least Thursday and try to fly out on Monday. Now, I know some of you might have to be back at work on Monday, but we also have the basketball game on Saturday night. Suns Spurs. It's going to be magic. It's going to be absolutely magic. Spreadsheet play of the day is in. Ron Crawford is on Columbus. Columbus. Let's copy this right now. Copy and paste. Columbus. It was very hard to get the records up to date. I'm a little behind on Ron. I got to get Ron rolling. But Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day is in. Great to see all you guys. Sweaty Butcher in the house. Lucas Ryan, Justin McElvey. Great group. Eric Jones ready to get to work. It is time to get to work right now. We go into NHL. Last time I saw you guys was on Friday. 5-1 banger on Friday. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I needed it. Look, got me back into the black. So let's not, get too caught up in ourselves. 24 and 26, 48% plus 1.05 units ROI plus 2.10%. Average line plus 108. Here we go. Montreal Canadiens at Columbus Blue Jackets nationwide arena here. And we get the show started with a little Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day action. He's on the Columbus Blue Jackets minus 130. There we go. And I'm on it too. Let me say this first. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are a good hockey team. That's right. They're a good hockey team. I also think that they'll make a run at one of the last playoff spots. I know that may sound good. They're not going to get it, but they'll make a run. I think they are a good hockey team. I think that Pascal Vincent is a really good hockey coach. He's one of the guys who's earned everything he's gotten in life, especially in hockey. Earned everything. Nothing's been given to him. He did not have a successful playing career. He had to fight tooth and nail for everything he's got. So Johnny Gaudreau sits on the bench. If Laine doesn't show energy and emotion out there, sit your ass on the pine and shut up, is what he'd say. And I think that he's putting together a really good hockey team. And that Russian group, so we all remember, the five-man unit of the Detroit Red Wings that was all Russian. Russians like to play together, and they've built a really strong nucleus of young Russians. Now, some of them are a little disgruntled, and some aren't. Dmitry Voronkov was a fourth-round pick in 2019 NHL entry draft. He's 6'4", and he's playing very, very well. He's got 10 points in 17 games. He's a +2, 19 penalty minutes. He's just part of this group with the Blue Jackets that is the real deal. Columbus is bet on. We were last together when they won 7-3. We cashed that on the -1. That was on Friday? I'm a huge Boone Jenner backer. I always have been. He's got Marchenko and Johnny Hockey on that front line. Then Laine and Voronkov. You got Chinnikov as well on this team. And then on defense, you have Provorov. You have 4 Russians who are playing a huge role for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they are bet on. Eric Jones on the under 6.5 here, 2-10 to the under spot for Columbus. And Tori Coker in the house, chosen one. Great to see you. Dan Kelly, Christopher Carter. Great to see all of you guys. I'm not against the under by any means. Why don't we take a look at the line history here, and maybe it is a perfect look. Let's take a look at it. Sorry, I was just about to add one spot in NFL. I have 8 bets in the NFL for this week, and I'm very close to adding one, but we'll get to that in a little bit. There's been a market move towards the Montreal Canadiens. Is what it is. It's moved a cent towards the Montreal Canadiens. If you look at the season-long stats from Columbus, they're not a good hockey team. I mean, they had that, 9-game losing streak. This total is at 6.5. I don't trust the Montreal group to play defensively enough for me. I just don't, and I won't here. We have Sammy Montembeault going up against Elvis Merzlikins. Merzlikins is starting to play better. Merzlikins is capable of being very good. Slatsy says Gallagher playing on the first line for the Habs is so ridiculous. The Habs are dealing with a ton of injuries. Wi-Fi, who provides so much toughness, is out. Now, he could come back tonight. So could Chris Weidman with a back injury. They're capable of coming back tonight. Jordan Harris, another defenseman's out. David Savard's out. So there's 3 defensemen out, or 4 with Wi-Fi. And then Harvey Pinard out. We know Kirby Doc out for the year. So they're dealing with injuries. And when we go to this lineup, it's just not good. I don't know what else to say. They've overachieved this year. Suzuki, Newhook, and Gallagher on the first line. Caulfield, Dvorak, and Slavkovsky on the second line. You have to put Josh Anderson down to the third line. Someone's got to get Josh Anderson going. He's with Monahan and Tanner Pearson on the third line. You would think that'd be a really good third line. Mikey M says NHL Wednesdays over 23-10, currently a 7-2 run, last 9, 70% season-long rate. I'm on the Columbus Blue Jackets on the -1 line. I got +126. Montreal power play 18%, penalty killing 73.5%. Columbus's penalty killing is at 89.2%. That shows you what Pascal Vincent is doing. And look, there's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be hurt feelings. You're going to have an early season losing streak. But if you can get everybody together on the same page, and if Johnny Hockey and Patrick Laine know that they're no different than anybody else on this hockey team, and they better step up and play, or they're going to sit their ass on the bench. You'll watch this team start winning. Now, you could say the Blue Jackets come in off their third win in 4 games, 5-2 at home over the Bruins on Wednesday. The Bruins still number 1 in the league by a point. But I do not think they'll be complacent. This is a hockey team that's 7-12-4, that's 5-6-1 at home, and I've said everything about Vincent that you need to know. So instead of in other sports where I wouldn't want to back a team after a huge win, I think that this team will keep winning. I'm on the Columbus Blue Jackets on the -1 line. Ron Crawford on the spreadsheet play today with the Columbus Blue Jackets. There's a market move towards the Montreal Canadiens. You know, what you see is what you get in the NHL. And this was, I sat here with these games for at least 12 hours, having capped them, staring at the market move, going, am I really going to take all the home favorites on the -1 line? Like, it's not something I wanted to do, but it's something I have to do because I think I'm going to get paid. Let's move on. That's game number 1. Montreal Canadiens, Columbus Blue Jackets. Game 2, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Red Wings, 11-6-3, 4-3-1 on the road. At the New York Rangers, 15-4-1, 6-2-0 at home, Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Another thing here, Gold 44 saying Blue Jackets over, Kings under. Slatsy also saying Habs 2-8 in their last 10 in Columbus. Another thing here with this spot is you have a Red Wings team that's come off with 3 straight wins, and Dylan Larkin did not travel with the club. So you have a Red Wings team with 3 straight wins. They just won 4-1 at home over the Wild on Tuesday, and Dylan Larkin did not travel. So Dylan Larkin is playing 20 minutes a game. Let's talk about what's working for this Red Wings team. Their power play is at 22.4%. Their penalty killing is average at 79%. So they have a 22.4% power play and 79% penalty killing. Dylan Larkin is playing 20 minutes a game. 13 of his 21 points have come on the power play. 13 of 21. Let's take this Minnesota Wild. We're not sure when Kane is expected, but he's not tonight. Let's take this Minnesota Wild game, for example. He had a goal and an assist. He had 4 shots. He was a +2 in this 4-1 victory. Of his 20 minutes and 14 seconds of play, 5 minutes and 32 came on the power play, and 2 minutes and 43 came shorthanded. He was incredible out there. You take Dylan Larkin off of the Detroit Red Wings, and this is their 4 centermen. JT Comph, Andrew Kopp, Joe Veleno, and Christian Fischer. Oh, God. Now, could the Rangers be complacent? The answer is no. They just lost 5-1 to the Buffalo Sabres. Embarrassing. They had a 3-game winning streak. They didn't show up at home. Now they have star defenseman Adam Fox returning tonight. Capo Caco got hurt in the Sabres game. He's been put on long-term injury reserve. It's not expected to be season-ending, but it's long-term. Philip Hedl also expected to be put on LTR. He's been out for a little while. Eric Jones is on the under here. So, Eric Jones, I screwed up. On this. I wanted the under. I saw that the under 6 was at +100 at Bet365. It was at I want to say 103, 104 at Pinnacle. The 6.5, under 6.5 was at -123, and it was moving up. And I should have just bet it then. I could have got the under 6.5 at -123. That's gone. That's gone, and it should be gone. How are the Red Wings going to score? Now, we see teams missing their star players step up. Does that concern me? It would concern me if the Rangers hadn't have just lost 5-1 to the Buffalo Sabres. So it doesn't concern me. So not only am I on the Rangers -1, I also took the Detroit Red Wings team total under. Because if the Detroit Red Wings score 3 goals in this game, I'm not going to cash the under anyways. The under's not going to get cashed. Am I concerned that this game is a 5-2 game or a 5-1 game? The 5-1 pushes, the 5-2 loses? Yes, I am. If the score was 3-1 with 5 minutes to go in the game, would I be concerned about my under 6? Very. Because the Red Wings are going to pull their goalie with 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left. Nut Flush Allen says, looking into the team total under. I bet the team total under. So I've got 2 bets in this game. I'm on the Rangers on the -1 line. Bet365 was offering me better than Pinnacle, -1 at -130. And I have the Red Wings team total under 2.5 at -106 at Pinnacle. It was -106 at Pinnacle. It was -120 at Bet365. Slatsy says Shesterkin and Husso confirmed. Husso's been terrible this year, although he's 7-3-1. But 3.47 goals against average, .888 save percentage. So Philly Eagle Flyer says leaning towards Rangers money line and the over 5.5. Now, I like it that they just lost 5-1 before Adam Fox returns to the lineup. So he feels like, he can help solidify things, and we know he can. And Justin Hall also out of the lineup for the Detroit Red Wings. Sly, astute, we got astute chaos in the house. So there we go. Game number 2, New York Rangers -1. Detroit Red Wings team total under 2.5. Now, if this was NBA, I would be concerned that the Red Wings are missing their star player. I would. We see them come together. And if the Rangers weren't coming off losing 5-1, I would be concerned that they would take the Red Wings soft. But they're not going to. I don't think so. Rangers -1. Let's move on to the final spot on the board before Daby Cab joins us for NCAA basketball. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Washington Capitals 10-6-2, 3-2-1 on the road at the LA Kings 13-3-3, 4-3-3 at home. Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. Troy Torrance in the house. Also got Billy Friedrich rolling with us. You have Darcy Kemper versus Cam Talbot. So there's a couple different things happening in this game. The Capitals come off their second straight loss, 2-1 at San Jose on Wednesday. Now, there's a lot of parity in this league, and that's why the Capitals can be fine at home. I mean, look, the San Jose Sharks have the same amount of regulation wins as the Toronto Maple Leafs. They each have 5 regulation wins. The Leafs, who are the number one, the biggest favorite to win the Stanley Cup to start the year, and the Sharks are the worst team in the league. Exact same number of regulation victories. So are the Capitals angry off that second straight loss? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Capitals are not a good hockey team. They can be as angry as they want. We should look to fade them every single game for the rest of the season is what we should do against the Capitals. Because the fact that they're 10-6-2 is nowhere near the type of hockey team they are. Now, they're getting everything they possibly can out of the group. Don't get me wrong. But it's just not a good group. Not a good group. Michael Johnson says ESPN bet is a boost from 450 to 575 for Kempe and Ovi to combine for 9.5 shots on goal. I would have to study that. I'd have to study that, Michael Johnson. Just offhand, I need the numbers in front of me, and it would take me a little bit. I'm sorry. I can't do that, but I don't trust boosts to begin with. I mean, the biggest boost on Bet365 in CFL all year was the Argos to win the Grey Cup. Right? They go 16-2. Everybody hammering this boost. Billy Friedrich's on the Kings puck line. And Philly Eagle Flyer on the Kings money line, the under 6.5. So there's a couple. Look, if there's a team that I'm a little concerned about complacency, it's the Kings. They've been off since securing their fifth straight win, 4-0 at home over Montreal on Saturday night. They've outscored the opposition 20-5 over that 5-game streak. Okay, so here I told you that the Columbus Blue Jackets are a good hockey team that will make a run for that final playoff spot and not get it. Here's another thing I'd like to say today. The Los Angeles Kings are the best team in the NHL. If you don't have your futures on them, you should get in on it. I think they're the best team in the NHL. And then when you have to play them every second night, they're huge. They're a big, big hockey team as well. They're going to be able to impose their will. Look at this, 89.4% penalty killing, 20.8% power play. This is, in my feeling, I think this is the best team in the NHL. Let's go into the line history here for this one. This total is sitting at 6, minus 106 to the under. This opened up a minus 111 to the under. On a money line perspective, this is sitting with the Kings right now at minus 201. That's where they opened. This got juiced immediately towards the Kings, and then people started moving on the Capitals. I imagine those people that have moved on the Capitals have made a lot of money off the Capitals this year. And I'm a little concerned about early. If you are watching this game and the Capitals score first, I will be watching this. I'm going to think a lot about moving live on the LA Kings because it's been a few days off on a 5-game winning streak. I don't like that at all. But that is my cards for today. 4 bets in NHL. And we are, coming off that big day on Friday. 5-1, built confidence. We have the Blue Jackets -1. These lines have gone again. I mean, look, I did everything I possibly could not to be on the 3 home favorites tonight. But I just don't see complacency. The Blue Jackets because of Pascal Vincent. The Rangers because they just lost 5-1 to the Sabres. And the Kings because they have a 5-game winning streak on the line. Going for 6. The Kings are my biggest worry. Blue Jackets -1 at +126. Rangers -1 at -130. Kings -1 at -145. And then the Detroit Red Wings team total under 2.5. And yes, I would prefer to be on the under 6.5 in that hockey game. And I just missed it, and it was a mistake. At some point you got to think, well, this is probably the best I'm going to get. And I should have done that. Eric Jones leaning Washington. Ricky Levine says on the same futures with you. Yeah, and I don't have many futures. Alec Dirk asking about the Chattanooga Lipscomb spot at noon. And yes, Al Cervic gave us the over 152.5, and Dav Fenn is leaning towards Lipscomb here. And a question about, the Kings. The Kings are 4-3-3 at home. They've won 4 of their 10 games at home in regulation. I mean, that's going to be hammered home to them. That's going to be hammered into their head that they're not that good at home. So, Matty Ice on Lipscomb Moneyline. That is your NHL breakdown for Wednesday, November 29th. Mr. Gokster will be back in action with us tomorrow. It is time to move on to college basketball right now and bring on our first guest. We've already heard from Justin McElvey. Stacks play today is Detroit Mercy +7. There's Sharky Waters in the house. Our first guest in college basketball has come out of the gates blazing, firing 10-4 in his first 14 bets on the college basketball season here on our show. 10-4, 71.4%, plus 5.64 units, ROI plus 40.29%, average line -111, and we need to keep winning. Please welcome star of Medicate Mondays and our Saturday college football live stream. And we got Texas, Oklahoma State this Saturday. Texas, Oklahoma State right after Saturday means football with Nadu and Loshak. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, the Magic Man, Dabra Kadabra. Daby Cab, how are you?
Oh, Jimmy, I'm fired up, making sure my mic's not muted. I'm ready to go, man. I see the chat. We got Shark, Ron in there, man, Philly Eagle Flyer, everybody. College basketball is the best time of the year because we get action pretty much every day, and I fucking love it. So I'm ready to fire, man.
Well, let's do exactly that, Daby Cab. All of your action is marquee games in the ACC SEC Challenge. We start at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. The number 10 ranked Tennessee Volunteers 4-2, 1-0 on the road at the number 17th ranked Carolina Tar Heels, Dean E. Smith Center, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Let's get into the line history for starters here. Let me move over here. Go over the line history and the cash flow. Get that over to college basketball. And let's attack, my friend. This one popping off at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. And we have all ACC, SEC challenges on Daby's card. So line history-wise for this one, we have the Tar Heels sitting at -2 at -106. They opened up at -2.5, dropped and this was yesterday at 3:23 p.m. Within a minute, it was down to 2. But then it came back to 2.5 at 4 p.m. about 40 minutes later and dropped to 2. That's where it stands right now. We have the 2 on the board. Let's see what's going on with the total. I'll have this all sped up here shortly. While we're looking or waiting for that to load up, let's go over the cash flow for this spot. What the hell just happened to it? Sorry, college basketball always messes me up. Here we go. And we got the total up now, so let's just move over there. From a total side of things for this one, we have it's sitting at 144 at Pinnacle. This opened up at 140.5. We've gone up 3.5 points. So we have a half-point move to the Volunteers, and then we have a 3.5-point move towards this over. Taking a look at the cash flow for this one. Show me 715. Here we go. We have 61% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the on the Tar Heels. Yet this move has gone 0.5 point to the Volunteers. And then everybody on this over, and the market's respecting it. 84% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the over. Take it away, Daby Cab, your first game on the board. Just saw the Volunteers lose back-to-back games to Kansas and Purdue. Do they bounce back here? North Carolina bounced back, and you were on it against Arkansas. You gave that out here on the show. North Carolina won 87-72, and Cabby was all over that one. Take it away for us here, Cabby. Volunteers, Tar Heels.
Yeah, so, I know you just touched on that in the Maui Invitational. Tennessee, only went 1-2, but they only dropped 3 spots in the AP Top 25 poll. Because those losses, like you said, were number 1 and number 2. They lost to Kansas and Purdue, and they were good games. Their first game in the tournament, they opened up with a 73-56 win over Syracuse, but then they lost 71-67 to Purdue. They almost got the cover, but didn't because they were 3-point underdogs there. In that game, the Vols shot just 33% from the field, and then turned around against Kansas and only shot 32% from the field. This is the same thing we've seen from Tennessee year in and year out. They have the number 1 defense right now in terms of adjusted defense efficiency. They're allowing just 61.5 points per game on 38.1% shooting, only 26.7% from 3. On offense, they're a little off, but defense, this team can play. So for anybody looking towards that over, I would be careful here because you got a very good defense. I mean, the best defensive team in the country here. And then we look on the other side. North Carolina is a different team. They lost their starter, Caleb Love, to Arizona, but I don't really think that's hurting them that much. They've still got RJ Davis. They've got Armando Bacot, the big guy down low, and they've got several transfers that have really stepped in and started to play well for them. One thing UNC has not played a true road game yet. They've only been in the neutral sites, and here they don't have to worry about that because they're back at home where they're very comfortable. Offensively, North Carolina's had no issues this year. They're averaging 85.3 points per game. They're doing that on 46.5% shooting and 36.9% from 3. So here's where I'm at with this. And I tweeted it out yesterday. I tweeted out all my action yesterday. I took North Carolina on the money line here for a couple reasons. One, they're at home. 2, I think Tennessee might be the better team down the road. Like if you give me this matchup in the Final Four, I might be on Tennessee here. But right now at home with the Tar Heels, I got to take them. I got to take them on the money line. They have more depth than they had last year. Like I said, the loss of Love to Arizona is not really hurting them that much. They're shooting the ball well, and it comes down to one thing where I'm always at with college basketball is the fucking paint. I think Bacot is going to feast this game. I truly do. I don't think Tennessee's going to have an answer for Bacot. He knows how to play against other good big guys. He's been around forever, and I think he's going to do his shit here at home. I got North Carolina on the money line.
And what did you – I'll pull your action up, but what did you get on that money line?
Minus 120.
Minus 120 for Daby Cab. Locked in. North Carolina money line minus 120. We stay with the ACC SEC challenge here, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. The number 14th ranked Texas A&M Aggies, a school our Daby Cab knows very well. 6-1, 2-0 on the road at Virginia. Cavaliers 5-1, 3-0 at home. We're at John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville, Virginia. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have, come on, show it to me. Here we go. We have Virginia sitting right now at minus 2.5 and minus 109. This opened up at -1. There's been a constant move towards Virginia. This line opened up at 3:25 p.m. yesterday, and it got to 3. It got to 3 this morning at 9:49, and it's back to 2.5. From a total side of things here, a much lower total. Of course, Virginia basketball, Virginia at home. This opened up at 125.5. It got up to 127. Back at 125 right now. From a cash flow scenario here, we have 50-50 on the total, 50-50 on the tickets, 52% of the cash on the over. And from a spread perspective, 49% of the tickets and 73% of the cash on Virginia. These Aggies bounce back from that loss at home to Florida Atlantic by beating up on Iowa State 73-69. And for Virginia, they bounce back from that ugly loss to Wisconsin by beating West Virginia 56-54. Take it away for us here, Daby. There is a big rest advantage for the Cavaliers. Take it away, Aggies, Cavs.
Yeah, they do have the rest advantage. And also, A&M, they've been bouncing back and forth between, home and neutral courts here. This is going to be another road test for them. That Iowa State win for them, I was on A&M in the first half and they got smashed. Then they came back, won 73-69. And we saw something in that game if you paid attention to it. We saw Solomon Washington, emerge as just an absolute beast. I think this guy is going to be a star. He had 18 crucial points in that game. And you could just, the intensity, if you watched it, the intensity that he had the entire game. I mean, it was fun. It gives me goosebumps to think about it. He wanted to win that game and he knew that he was going to, and he did it. He did it. I don't want to say by himself, but he took the majority of the pressure off the team. One thing about A&M is, they're averaging 18 offensive rebounds. So they're getting ample second chance points, which is, one of the most important things. They only turn the ball over 9.1 times per game, which is great. They're not the best shooting team, 28.8% from 3, 43.9% overall. But if you're getting those extra shots, that's what's important here. You look on the other side of Virginia, they responded by beating West Virginia, like you said, in their last game, 56-54, but that was a close game to a West Virginia team that I'm not very high on this year. And you just kind of look across the board at what Virginia's done. Any good team they've played, it's either come down to the last shot or they've lost their one loss, right? And this Virginia team does not rebound the ball very well. And that's where I think this is going to come down and where this game's going to be won. Virginia is minus 4.3 per game on rebounding, where you look at Texas A&M, they're plus 12.1. That is a huge disparity right there. A&M shines on the glass, whereas the Cavaliers, they're inept when it comes to cleaning up possessions and getting second chances. A&M doesn't mind playing a slow pace, which is what Virginia is going to want to do. And that slow pace is going to bode towards the team that gets the second chance scoring opportunities. So I think A&M's defense is sturdy enough to keep the Cavaliers in check here. I'm not worried about Virginia at the free throw line. I'm going to take A&M here on the money line. It's gonna be plus money now for anyone that wants to get involved. For me, I got the ass end of this line. I got the better one of the North Carolina. I got even money on it, but I still like it. You can probably get plus 120 or something like that now.
Cab moving here on Texas A&M. Shout out to Kelly McInnes with the $10 dono, blessing our action for today. Kelly, you are a good man, and we love you. Thank you for your support here. Texas A&M, you got plus 100?
Yeah, even money. Mm-hmm.
Plus 100 for Cabby on Texas A&M. Let's move on to
I do want to say this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have confirmed that Radford's in or Coleman here. They are big parts of this A&M team. I don't want somebody to see this and be like, oh, Cab didn't even know. No, I know that those guys, they weren't in against Iowa State in the last game. I'm not sure if they'll be back. They're key components to this team. If they play, this line's not minus 2.5. So I'm assuming that they're not.
All right, let's roll into the next spot on the board because there's injury issues in this one as well. 9:15 p.m. Eastern. The number 7 ranked Duke Blue Devils 5-1 on the year at Arkansas Razorbacks 4-3, 3-1 at home at Bud Walton Arena. And we have the Tremont Mark situation, taking off the floor on the stretcher in the battle for Atlantis there. It was a tough loss pretty ugly loss for Arkansas as well. let's get over here quickly. So Tremont Mark, I mean, he was released, and I guess it's a back injury at this point. So that's a big part of the story. Duke has been rolling since that loss to Arizona. They've been looking very good, winning by margin. And Arkansas now has lost 3 of 4. And Tremont Mark, the Houston transfers, looked very, very good to start the season. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Move over here quickly. God damn, it's moving a little slower than I would like. Here we go. So we have this one popping off at 9:15 p.m. Arkansas at +4.5. They opened up at 4.5. This got up to 6. It was at 6 at midnight, and now we've come all the way back to 4.5. So there's been some buyback on Arkansas to step up here. And from a total side of things here, we have it sitting at, sorry, where the hell is it? God, too many games. Sitting at 150. Juice to the over. This opened up at 149. This got up, though. Did it get up? I thought, no. Yeah, it got up to 151.5. This was at 151.5 2 hours ago, and is back at 150. So some buyback there. And then cash-wise here, we have, damn. Here we go. We have 82% of tickets, 81% of cash on Arkansas. Wow, that was a big early move towards Duke. Total-wise, 96% of tickets, 97% cash on the over. Now, we're only talking about 4,636 tickets here. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab. You're the last spot on the board. Duke Blue Devils, Arkansas Razorbacks.
Did you just say 86% of the cash is on Arkansas?
I did, yes. Right now, let me go back to the spread here. Sorry, 82% of the tickets, 81% of the cash.
Man, that surprises me, because I don't know if you remember the reason we were on North Carolina against Arkansas was more of a fate of Arkansas. This team has, been shifting who's starting. They've been changing their rotation. They've had injury issues. And Arkansas, for anybody who's been backing them, they're just 1-6 ATS right now. So it's been a rough season for anyone backing the Razorbacks here. On the Blue Devils side, the other side, 6 games into the season, this is going to be their first true road game. They're one of those big programs that schedules all their non-conference games, mostly at home or neutral sites. They got the win over Michigan State by 9 on a neutral court. Their one loss was that early loss against Arizona that you touched on, and that was on their home court. They're led by Filipowski. He looked at the NBA last year, came back to Duke for another year, the 7-foot sophomore. He leads the team in scoring and rebounding with 18.8 per game, 8 rebounds per game. He's going to be the best player on the court today. And you just look at this Arkansas team. Arkansas climbed all the way up to 14 in the nation at one point because they have so much talent. They really do. It's unbelievable, talent on their side of the court. But with Tremont Mark, and some of their other issues that they've got going on, this team is just right now a fade. That's all it is for me. Like I said, Arkansas has talent, but they're not playing well enough for me to back here. Only 1-6 ATS. There's a reason for that. They're not meeting expectations across the board. This team is built from being able to score from the wing position where most transfers are. They got the one big inside, Brazil inside, but they haven't been able to make it work flat out. And I just, for me, this is a Duke team that, after that loss to Arizona has got it together. I think Filipowski is going to have what he wants in the paint. I think he's going to eat in this game. And then you got Mark Mitchell, inside. He's going to take away any advantages that you think that the Razorbacks are going to have with Trevon Brazil. He's going to be able to match up with them. And Arkansas on the flip side, they don't have anybody to match Filipowski. Okay. I think he's going to score inside easily in this matchup. I think Duke is the bigger, badder, and more reliable, 100% the more reliable team at this point in time. And I think they're the bigger and better team also right here. So what I did is I took Duke in the first half. This is just one of those games where at home, I think Arkansas can make this close. I think Duke wins this game. I think it could be close, but I think they're up early. So I'm going to take Duke in the first half.
Duke first half -2.5, -110. Do you think that the gambling public thinks that, like we saw all last year in the NBA, that the Razorbacks are going to step up here after, with the fallen soldier watching from the sidelines, and that we've just see so often the team kind of rally. I mean, I understand your first half look, but do you think that's part of the reason why there's so many bets that have been placed on Arkansas, and as soon as the immediate move towards Duke has come right back?
Yeah, that, and then also it's just like I said, this Arkansas team is riddled with talent. They just haven't put it together. I mean, you see teams like North Carolina is a good example last year, with Davis and Love and Baycott. Like, goddamn, how good was that team considering the fact that they couldn't win games in big situations? This Arkansas team just has that feel, Jimmy. Like they don't seem like a cohesive unit, if that makes sense. And I think for them, it's going to be until that they start playing like a team and putting it together. For me, it's going to be a fade or pass.
I hear you. I do have interest in, maybe it's better just to watch, but I do have interest in seeing them kind of rally here at home without Tremont Mark. The Chillest looking at the under 150 in this one. Joey Harb wondering if he should move on the over. Billy Friedrich says he kind of is leaning to Arkansas in the first half, expecting them to come out strong back at home, without their star. Daby Cab 10-4 to start out the year here in college basketball. 10-4, 71.4% plus 5.64 units, ROI plus 40.29%, average line minus 111. And today he's on North Carolina money line minus 120, Texas A&M money line at plus 100, Duke first half minus 2.5 at minus 110. And Daby Cab will be back in action with us tomorrow with more college basketball looks. Daby Cab, thank you so much for your time. You're also going to hear best bets for Daby Cab in college football tomorrow for the conference championships. You'll get that as well.
I finally had a good Thursday. 3-1 on college football. I needed that, and we're going to do it again this week.
You had a great week, man. You had a great week here on the show, so I love it. Daby Cab, star of Medicate Mondays every Monday at 11 a.m., as well as our big college football live stream, and it was popping off for Michigan, Ohio State, and they'll be doing the same for Texas, Oklahoma State. Daby Cab, please follow Daby Cab on X at Daby Cab. Cabby, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Man, you guys, you say it, man. We don't have anything without you guys supporting the show. Getting up here, man, sometimes it doesn't matter what's going on in the day. When I get up here and I see the chat, my guys like Nutflush, Kongs, Sharky Water Nation out there, Chosen One, my guy, man, follow him on Twitter. When I see you guys, everything else goes away, and all that matters is getting that fucking money. And that's what I love, man.
I love it too. Well put, Daby Cab. Dabra Cadabra in the house. Sean Pulliam says, Lipscomb game, Jim, did you get any looks? Was thinking over full game. We got that early. We got the over as a look from Al Cervic. He is on the over. And maybe our next guest is moving on Lipscomb Chattanooga. We will ask him. And as we move forward, I will ask the guys to have those games that are popping off really early ready, because I know there's only one today. So I will ask our next guest if he has looks on Lipscomb Chattanooga. Let's bring him on right now. The star of Last Call, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. right here on Pub Sports Radio and running extremely hot. Another very, very strong night yesterday. Please welcome from the dirtiest of Chesters, Rochester, New York, Mikey M to the show. Mikey, how are you?
Jimmy the Bag, happy Wednesday, my guy. What up? It seems like I just saw you the other day. It was Monday night. I was all cocktailed, and then yesterday was kind of a blur, so it makes sense. What's going on?
We are excited to have you here. You and Cab work very well together because you attack very different games and you attack them very differently. We have the high marquee games locked in by Cab, and Mikey trying to mine gold, looking for diamonds here with these smaller schools and delivering them. Now, we have some cappers asking about Chattanooga, Lipscomb. Is this something that you've looked at?
I did. I mean, it's afternoon action, and you know how I like to degen out. So I like to have something going on in the background while I'm prepping for the show tonight. So I did take a look there, and interesting numbers, right? We see, Chattanooga's 5-1, Lipscomb's 5-3. I know this wasn't a game that I was really going to kind of come in and talk about here, but just kind of the high level pass at this thing. The numbers dropped down, a half a point or so from the opening, and I like it. I think if you look at who's been playing who kind of in this situation here, Lipscomb's coming out of this thing, and they're not playing, quality opponents, but they did have a big win, in my opinion, against UNC Asheville back on November 24th during Feast Week there. And it wasn't just a little win. I mean, they were plus 3.5 point dogs, and they came out there and they won outright by 11 points on the road. So that one kind of registered for me. I saw that they had, a spot there against Wolford. Again, they were 5.5 point favorites in that game on the road, and they went on the road and they shut them down by 7 points. They won that game. Then you look at the other side of things with Chattanooga. They played Bellarmine. Okay. I mean, I guess they were only a 4.5 point favorite. I'm not a big Bellarmine fan. They had their big move coming into the conference or into D1 a year back there, and everybody was kind of high on the horse with them because they were getting so many points. But, now that's kind of shrunk down a little bit. A 4.5 point favorite. They won that game by 8. Then they look at, they had a game against Evansville, 8.5 point favorites on November 24th. And this is kind of that crucial day during Feast Week. I just talked about Lipscomb. Evansville, they lost as 8.5 point favorites. They lost by, 8 points in that spot as well. So almost a 16.5 point move against the trend. And then they come back and they play Southeast Missouri. They win 72-56, but I'm just not enamored by Chattanooga. Not to mention they've had a ton of games that are either they're set up as the home team, or because they're neutral sites, they ended up getting the home spot here. So I like it. I like Lipscomb. I'm gonna take the. I ended up rolling on the money line. I mean, I don't mind taking that gas on that thing. It was minus 160 that I got it at, but I would give it out at what could you get, minus 3.5 now? I still think it's going to be more than a 2-bucket game. So despite the 5-3 record, I think everybody sees 5-1 with Chattanooga and they think, oh, they're going to kill it. But there's a lot that kind of goes underneath the covers of that thing that kind of led me to that spot with Lipscomb.
Let's lock it in. Did you take a look at the total here? We have people asking about the over. Al Cervic is on the over.
I really didn't look at the total too much. I just, if I was looking at it, I mean, I see it's dropping, but to me, I correlate the two, right? You guys have heard me say on last call, when we see that total dropping, to the under, then that kind of supports the home team getting the job done here. And I really don't have, I'd just be throwing something from the hip if I gave you a total on that thing.
No worries.
So I don't know that I would get there. I would say that, with a total this high, if you look at the games that, Chattanooga's played, this is the higher total that they've had in terms of the numbers. The highest one they had was 151.5, and they went under. But when they're sitting around that 144 mark, they seem to find a way to go over. So I think this is kind of a sharp number. And if you look at Lipscomb's average number is 155. So, all in all, it tells me that Lipscomb's going to push the pace. I think the game ends up going under. I think Lipscomb covers the game outright. And maybe it's a Chattanooga team total under as well. It's slightly juiced to the under on that Chattanooga team total. But my official play in there, we could put it down for the record too here. I'll take Lipscomb minus 3.5.
Well, it's moved to 3 now.
Perfect.
So it's moving quickly here.
Well, let me just see what do you got for the money line on that thing? Has it gotten below 150?
No, that's minus 159 right now. But I could take a look here at. Let me just see if some of the other books, because one of the things I have to do with this site now, I don't know what's going on with it, but I have to refresh it all the time to get it. But it says that it's at minus 150 at Pinnacle, but I'm on the Pinnacle site and I'm signed in, and it is not.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll take the minus 3. No matter.
All right, minus 3.
I think you got a 5-1 team that's getting 4 points or now 3 points on the road, and that's what everybody's looking at and seeing is that, hey, this is a 5-1 team. It's an afternoon game. We know guys at work want to take that lunch special, and I used to be in that bucket there where I was like, oh, let me get the points. It's a 5-1. It's the better team. But I don't know that that's the case here when you kind of peel the covers back on it. So minus 3 is good for me.
Minus 3 for Lipscomb. That game pops off in 11 minutes. Gift Cartel says, have you guys covered Colorado State yet? We have not, but it is on the schedule. Let's get to work here. These are the best bets here for our guy Mikey M. And he's
I got a 2.5 out there now for Lipscomb. I just got the alert for the 2.5, so I'm gonna jump in and take a move on that.
Wow, what book is that at?
FanDuel.
Wow, nice. What's the vig?
Minus 118.
Down to minus 2.5 at FanDuel, minus 118. All right, let's roll on. Al Cervic going to try to get in on Lipscomb on the money line live. Gifted Cartel saying Duquesne is the play. Well, let's talk it out. Gifted Cartel. First spot on the board for our Mikey M. UC Irvine Anteaters, a team that he's had a great eye on, or great feel for, I should say, to start the year against the Duquesne Dukes, 4-2, 3-1 at home. The UC Irvine winning and winning pretty comfortably, beating Pepperdine by 16, beating Toledo by 6, and then beating Rice by 15. And Duquesne's lost 2 of 3, but that was a tough game at Nebraska, losing 89-79 last out. And that was last Wednesday. So they've been off for a full week. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Over here. Make sure I got this all set up. Here we go. So line history-wise, this one, again, popping off right at 7 p.m. And we have Duquesne. Come on, show your face. Duquesne now 5.5-point favorites. That's at Bovada. Over at Pinnacle is the same, but less juice. Pinnacle has Duquesne -5.5 at -112. This opened up at 4. It moved to 4.5 at 8:30 this morning. Then it came back to 4. Then there was a big 1.5 move towards Duquesne at 9:21 this morning. So we're sitting with Duquesne as 5.5-point favorites. And from a total perspective, we are sitting here with the Dukies. God, there's too many games, man. And I know that Kong's Clips hates it when I say that.
There's too many college basketball games, man. I don't know what they're going to do about it. There's too many college basketball programs in the D1, but maybe they should have like a relegation process, like with soccer, where, you become maybe like, D1B or something like that.
I always love relegation. I think it works with all sports, but then the stadiums, you don't want to have Mullet Arena in the NHL. Oh, wait. This total is at 145.5 now at 144.5. We've dropped a point. Let's get into the cash flow here for this one. First game of the best bets for our Mikey M. The Dukies now 5.5-point favorites, and 36% of the tickets and 39% of the cash is on Duquesne. So public is sort of on UC Irvine at this point, 64 and 61. And from a total side of things, we have no information, just 1,200 tickets in. Take it away for us here, Mikey. Your first best bet on the board, UC Irvine, Duquesne Dukes.
Yeah, let me take a step back and say, when you look at the total and when you look at the record for me on this thing here, I've taken some ballsy double dip spots where I've gone with the money line and I've taken the points. Most recently, Pittsburgh last week, and almost there in the first half, and then just salted me up in that second half, and I took a double whack on it. So that's kind of, I like to go for that opportunity where if I'm going to take the points, then I'm going to take the money line. So if you read between the lines in this one for me, I'm going to go with UC Irvine as my official plus 5.5 in this spot here. And, I think this is one of those spots where you've got UC Irvine. They've won 6 games outright. Their biggest resume builder thus far this season is USC. And you're going to see that a lot of my games intertwine with kind of what's happened over the past week and a half to 2 weeks. This one kind of starts it off, and just kind of as a spectator watching these sports and betting on them, kind of how I saw the trends and what I saw from the teams that were out there. That was a huge win for UC Irvine. They're a 6-1 team now. They've won 6 in a row outright. And there's a big trend that I've been riding here in the last week and a half. The home favorites, when they're lined between 1 to 5 points, they're 10 and 20 against the spread, and they're losing them almost. I think I didn't write down the loss number overall, but I want to say they're like 11 and 9 outright. So they're not necessarily winning those games. It's a coin flip on the straight up spot here, which kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Yesterday, I caught 2 big wins with Akron and Portland, and that same trend. I saw everybody was on Portland State. And I was like, you know what? I can't get there. And the number was dropping to support it. When you look at a UC Irvine team, no slouches when it comes to scoring. Interesting enough, as they played in that same tournament over Feast Week with New Mexico, they played the same teams as New Mexico. And there's a lot of buzz going on about how New Mexico did in that tournament. Well, UC Irvine did just as well, if not better, because they were a lesser ranked team in terms of the overall opponents here. When you look at the way that UC Irvine lines up on this game, they don't just have 1, they don't just have 2, they don't just have 3, they have 4 guys averaging 10 points a game across the hop, and they're averaging 81.7 points a game. You don't get there by having 1 or 2 flash and pants guys. You're shooting consistently and consecutively. They're shooting at 50.2% from the field. They're averaging 37% from the 3 and a crazy 68.2% from the foul line, which tells me when they get fouled, they're making the most of it. They can draw penalties. The flip side of things, when you look at those Dukies, their big loss just came 89-79 to Nebraska. They've been having a pretty good season right now at 4-2. But they're kind of ball hog guys here. They got two guys in Day Grant that averages 20.8 points a game, and then Jimmy Clark at 17.3 points a game. So my feeling here is if you shut those two guys down, which UC Irvine's done well when you look at these teams that we'll talk about in a little bit with USC, they're not afraid to go out there and play that defensive ball. So team averages here, you've got a team that's effective across the hop and has the depth in UC Irvine, averaging 81 plus points a game. Then on the flip side of things, the Dukies are at 79 points a game because they really have two guys that are out there getting it done. The one thing that the Dukies do well is they shoot 72.3% from the foul line, which to me tells me the story of this game comes down to a tight battle. I just talked to you about the coin flip with the straight up spot of things. Now you're going to give me 5.5 points and a team that's going to probably come down to that last foul shot to win the game. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to jump on that 5.5 with UC Irvine.
Plus 5.5 and minus 105. Did you want to add the plus 200 money line to that?
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, you asked me. Yeah, let's go.
I thought that's what you were intimating earlier.
Well, I was just saying that.
I don't want to push you on it because
I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff here, and I'm going to take it. Yeah, fuck those Dukies. This is the other thing about I know a lot of guys like to cap. They get it going overnight and they kind of do the thing. And I respect all of that, but I'm also a guy that watches these games late into the night. And I have a cocktail or two with me when I'm doing it. So I get that FU mentality when a team burns me. I need to have that night off to decompress and wake up with fresh eyes the next day. Because the Dukies very much just got me square in the bottom mouth not too long back. And I don't want to let it happen again. So I have to make sure I have the fresh eyes when I look at it. But yeah, I'll go 1-1 here because I like that 200. I think it's a spot where if we go 1-1, then there's no harm, no foul. So yeah, give me the 200.
UC Irvine plus 5.5 minus 105 and the money line at plus 200. You're going right up against DC Capper as well as Gifted Cartel. So going up against,
I respect those boys, but
yeah, good cappers.
Yeah.
But going up against them, UC Irvine plus 5.5 minus 105 and the plus 200. Sharon Pulliam says, if for Lipscomb, if you can get over 148.5 minus 140, will you all pull the trigger? No, I don't think you should ever cheat totals. The implied probability becomes tricky. You don't want to have to be in a situation where you have to win 58% of your totals to break even. So if you don't like it at the number that it's available at, or if you could use it for like an SGP at a lower number or something like that, but then cut your unit size down. But no, I don't believe you should do that ever, Sean, personally. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern, we have the Tennessee State Tigers, 5-2, 1-1 on the road at Alabama A&M Bulldogs, 0-5, getting their first game in Huntsville, Alabama at the Event Center. They just played on Monday night, Alabama A&M at Cleveland State, losing 86-59, losing badly. They played East Tennessee State earlier, losing 82-71. They played Auburn too and Lipscomb. They've been up against some pretty tough competition. And Tennessee State has as well. They played at Oregon, losing 92-67. They've been pretty good this year. Tennessee State Tigers. Okay, here we go. Let's get into the line history for this one. And shoot, I got the money line up. Let me flip that over. Totals wise, so we have that up. And Adam, this opened up at 150. It's now at 150.5. This got up to 151.5, but it's just a half point move towards the over. Got to switch this over to point spreads. While I'm switching that over to spreads, we can talk about where the cash is on this game. 458 tickets are in, so not any information on the total. On the spread, 67% of the tickets and 72% of the cash is on Alabama A&M. This game pops off at 8 p.m. And I'm always interested, like when you sent this game in, I'm always very interested in a team that's 0-5, getting their first game at home, going up against a 5-2 team. I get interested in that home dog immediately. And the market has as well. At Pinnacle, this has gone from 7 to 6. We have a 1-point move towards Alabama A&M. Take it away for us here, Mikey. Tennessee State Tigers, Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
Yeah, so I even had some early look-ahead numbers because of how bad A&M Bulldogs were doing. Was plus 7.5. There's still a 7 out there at PointsBet. There's 6s, there's 5.5s, and it's moving its way on down to 5. So everybody seems to be jumping in on this home dog. And the Vegas is concerned. They're showing exposure here. A 5-2 team was laying 7.5 to start this thing out, and 0-5 teams now scaring Vegas a little bit. And that kind of tells you, in my opinion, all you need to know about this game. But we'll dig into it. We'll talk a little bit more about it here because, yeah, you talked about the opponents and who A&M has played. And look, Tennessee, only 2 covers this season. It's not like they're out there world beating anybody. They've got Alabama A&M on the other side of things is 2-3 in games that are lined at 7 or higher. And you mentioned it, right? It was that road battle that A&M's been on. But I always feel like a team goes out there and puts the road battle in place because they want to go out there and test their guys early, figure out their deficiencies so they can come back in and put boots to ass inside the conference. And I think that's what we're trying to see here with an 0-5 team. Like, are they getting down and discouraged? I mean, it'd be hard not to be at 0-5, but you got to look at that resume of who they played. Now, most recently, yeah, that's going to be a little kind of knock on the chin here. But the last 3 battles these teams have had head-to-head, Tennessee State's won 2 of them. And I just go back to this line movement thing here. We've got the line movement and the cash flow moving in alignment. This is something where we'll talk about last call here and put a little plug in for it and saying, I know everybody was big on NC State yesterday, myself included. But as we got closer to game time, I had to move that to a downgrade instead of a buy spot because the cash flow and the money was moving in that direction where it was everybody was on it, but it was moving and getting more points. So we moved off of that game as an official play. And I think in this spot here with A&M, this is kind of the converse side of that thing here, where we're looking at it saying, this team is catching the right steam and the lines are moving appropriately. Look at SWAC teams after they're off and over. They're 18-39 against the spread. They're losing by almost 2.5 buckets in that game. So, we have a pretty decent sized margin on SWAC teams coming off an average, coming off and over. And, the big thing for Tennessee State's their scoring differential. They're 55 points plus on the scoring differential side. They're typically winning by, 7.9 points a game on their opponents. But this 7 to me feels like it's pretty comfortable. I just talked about the 2 bucket spot of things. And if you just look at the simple mathematics behind it, if you've got 2 buckets in your favor and you're looking at a 7-point spread, you're almost at 11, right? Just do the quick math. 2 and 2, 2 buckets each is 11. On a 7 gives me 11. The team's winning by 7.9. I like what I'm seeing from that perspective. And then if you look at this thing overall, when Alabama A&M has a line of 7 or more, they've covered in 4 of 5 at home. When they've had a line of 7 or more, they've covered 15 of their last 20 at home. I know that's going to tip back into last season, but they got a lot of guys returning in as well. And, when you look on the other side of things and you see Tennessee State, 8 of their last 10 road games when they're laying -7 or more, they just haven't covered. They haven't covered 16 of their last 20 when they're laying 7 or more on the road as well. And I think the big factor here is the guy you got to watch out for is Caleb Blackwell. He is that kind of one-man band for, Alabama A&M. He's averaging just under three threes a game in terms of success factor, but he shoots at 80%. So when he's out there shooting, he's out there crushing. And sorry, I got to plug my battery in here before we die. Oops. Should have had that done pre-flop there, boys and girls. But so at the end of the day, it leads me to this Alabama spot saying, I see the money moving in that direction. I see the trends favor in this spot here. It is a revenge spot for A&M. And then you've got that SWAC factor after and over. After they score a lot of points, it tells me that they expose themselves to the teams in their conference and they're able to figure out how to kind of combat that and move forward. So 18-39 spot for me. I'm going to go in and take that A&M +7. Better get it now while it's hot because it's going to be 5 by the time last call flops out.
I like it. What was the juice on your 7?
I think it was -110. Let me just double check. Yeah, -110.
-110. 6 is pretty much market wide. A couple 5.5s. There's our guy Tone Miggins in the house. Florida Gators first half -2.5. 1.5 unit play for Tone Miggins. You guys were asking about this next game. Let's talk about it. Colorado Buffaloes 5-1 at the number 20 ranked Colorado State Rams. Moby Arena in Fort Collins. Let's take a look at the line history here. 11-1 combined, these two teams. First off, Colorado bounced back from that 77-71 overtime loss to Florida State by beating up on Iona by 17 points. Colorado State's been off since beating up on Creighton. Impressive work for these Rams to start the year, beating Creighton by 21 points. They have been off. That was last Thursday. So they have a bit of a rest advantage. From a total side of things, this opened up at 148.5. It's right there. There's been no movement on that one. From a side perspective for this 9 p.m. start, we have Colorado State right now at -3 at Pinnacle. They opened up at 3.5 and dropped to 3. So we have a half-point move towards the Buffaloes. And when we get into the cash flow for this one, get back here. For the cash flow, you have 64% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on the Buffaloes. From a total look, it's 50-50, but 70% of cash is on the under, and that total has not moved. Take it away for us here, Mikey. Game 3 of your 5-game best bet slate. Buffaloes, Rams, the Battle of Colorado.
Yeah, so this one feels to me like it's got the Jimmy the Bag special written all over it. What do you like to do after a team just has a huge win, and now they've moved into number 20 in the top 25 ranking? I got to fade these guys. At the end of the day, this is big brother, little sister matchup for the in-state rivalry. And Colorado's very much the big brother. They continue to dominate. They've won 3 straight in the head-to-head matchup. Their only loss this season's against the Florida State team. And the big thing for me about that Florida State team was their point guard, KJ Simpson. He's been firing gas. And when he doesn't, they lose, right? So he went 5 of 22 against Florida State. Otherwise, he keeps about a 70% shooting effectiveness out overall in the terms of the season. Now, Colorado State and KenPom does have a strong ranking. They're 42nd ranked overall. And you can see that 6-0 record and now getting that top 20 ranking, beating number 9 Creighton Blue Jays. The impressive part about that win was they held Creighton to 49 points. So, I've seen Creighton throw up some stinkers before, but I feel like the problem here is the depth versus the details here. You've got Isaiah Stevens, one of the best point guards in the country for sure. But he's kind of the gas. He's kind of the guy that moves the bus here. He's averaging 17.5 points a game, 7.8 assists. He shoots 58% from the field. But the thing that's kind of the subplot of that story about that Creighton game was the Patrick Cartier spot there. Big forward, one of the guys that is of offensive production extraordinaire for Colorado State. And he got gimped up in that last game. He had to go off the court, couldn't finish for Colorado State. And then after they came back to celebrate, you could see him hobbling back in there to celebrate with his guys. And who takes a place? A true freshman, Rishan Mimba. And this guy is, he's not the true guy that's out there leading the team, right? He's a freshman, and you're going to kind of get what you get. I think that's an important factor here because when you look at how these two teams are going to match up, this is a big in-state rivalry. Colorado State knows that they've lost 3 in a row. A lot of these guys are back from the same previous season. They don't want to have that continued loss. And now you got the pressure going onto the shoulders of a freshman. And I think although Colorado State is an incredibly efficient team, they're shooting 22nd in the nation in terms of offensive efficiency. They rank top 25 in shooting across the board, 3-pointers, 2-pointers, free throws, but they rebound very poorly. And that's the one thing I think Colorado does incredibly well is they're one of the best in the country at getting out there and mixing it up. So you got a lot of guys that like to flash in Colorado State, try to make the buckets, and then they don't want to go out there and clean up the slop. And Colorado's not afraid to clean up the slop. They also rank pretty competitively, 37th in offensive efficiency. They are 6th best in 3-pointers, which is going to be just about tied when you look at the free throw percentages here. So all things considered, give me the team that wants to play harder in the paint. Not to mention you got a front court and Tristan Da Silva. He's an all-conference guy. He's their leading scorer on the team. Eddie Lampkin is a TCU transfer in. That dude's got a 4-inch reach advantage over the tallest guy on the floor for Colorado State. I think there's going to be a lot of blocked opportunities with a team that's not going to man up and try to get in the paint. I'll take that 3.5 with Colorado and read between the lines with what I talked about when it comes to money line.
Let me see if I can find a 3.5. It's moved in your direction. Can you find one?
The fuck?
Because we could pay for one. I don't think it'll be very much, but let me.
No, I don't want to pay for it. No. I guess what's it going to cost me? What's it going to cost me? It looks like it's plus 2.5 on FanDuel at minus 102. What do those cheap sons of bitches have?
Let me get this here for you. I'm going to go right to the Pinnacle site and see what it would cost. Here we go. Oh no, it's going to be expensive because the 3 is juiced. 3.5 is minus 125. The 3 is minus 115. But we can get you regular 3s without the juice. Let me just confirm that. Market moving towards the Buffalo.
Another buy sign, right? When we see the market moving in that direction. Oh, by the way, remember what I said previously. A lined home favorite between 1 and 5 points is 10 and 20 against the spread in its last 30 games in the last week and a half. So for what it's worth, I'm going to go ride that trend again. It's been hot for me. I had 2 W's yesterday with it. I had a couple the day before that as well. And I'm going to run it back.
So do you want plus 3 at minus 115, or do you want plus 2.5 minus 107?
I'll take the 3. I'll take that half a point's worth it to me. That's worth 10 cents.
Plus 3 minus 115 for the Colorado Buffaloes. Move on to the next spot on the board for Mikey. 9 p.m. Eastern, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs 5-1, 1-1 on the road at New Mexico Lobos 5-1, 2-0 at home. We're at the Pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This one's got these. Oh, that's Bovada. Sorry, let me move over to Pinnacle. This one has the Lobos minus 7.5 at this point here. That's where they open, minus 7.5. There's been no movement on it. From a total side of things, this opened up at 150. It's at 150 again, no movement. This came out at 8 in the morning, so it's not like it's not been out at all. It's been out for a little while. We take a look at the cash here for this one, a spot. We have no information on the total, even though there are 1,250 tickets in. And on the spread, we have 82% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on Louisiana Tech. All that money in cash on Tech, and this line is not moving. Mel, by the way, looking at Colorado State, -3 in the Battle of Colorado. By the way, Gift Cartel says Colorado State shouldn't be favored. Yeah, they beat Creighton. Like in football, Colorado was playing good and got ranked, and then Colorado State came in and beat them. Now it's vice versa. He likes Colorado with the points with you as well.
One thing I'll say about that, too, is, what happened in Colorado this offseason that was big attention and notoriety here, right? They brought Priman on the football team. Why does that matter? Because you got a lot of cameras. You got a lot of prime time attention, no pun intended, with prime time coming in there being the coach of the football team. There's going to be spillover. It's almost like if you go to a party with a couple buddies and there's so many chicks there that, you just fall into it and you end up you get yourself a piece on the side just by accident, right? That's what's going to happen in college basketball, in my opinion, is Colorado is going to have a boost in the program and who they draw attention from, because there's more NIL dollars coming into the program. There's more eyes on the program overall. And I could digress, but I have a lot of theories around how the spillover works.
No, I like the look. Mel on the other side, dangerous to be on the other side of Mel. But let's talk about this Louisiana Tech, New Mexico side. We've seen all this money on Louisiana Tech, and this line is not moving. Tech 5-1, just played on Monday night against Dillard, Div 3 college, won by 40. New Mexico, 4 straight wins since the loss at St. Mary's, and UT Arlington, Toledo, Rice, and Pepperdine, and they beat Rice by 34 and then beat Pepperdine by 19. Seems like they are rolling right now, fresh, haven't played since Friday. Take it away for us here, Louisiana Tech, New Mexico.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot with, you look at La Tech, 4-0 against the spread in line games, right? That's a factor for me. But the fact that they're going out there playing a team like Dillard is suspect to me. So you take a New Mexico team that's 4-2. This goes back to what I talked about with that Feast Week tournament there that UC Irvine played in. Same team, same pedigree of opponents. And what's happening with this line here is they're whacking New Mexico with a -7.5. So, that tells me, again, going back to that Irvine spot, I like a lot what I see there. This is really this is a true home game for New Mexico. Those games that were being played in that Feast Week were neutral site spots. And La Tech only has one game on the season where the total of this total game combined has gone over. So a tricky spot for them there. When I look at that, it's because New Mexico scores 90 points a game. So when you combine these two teams and what they should score, it tells me La Tech's going to have a tough time hanging on to it here. New Mexico shoots 50.7 their last game. They're a big rebounding team as well. They blew out Pepperdine. All 5 of their starters are in double-figure guys. From Donovan Dent, he's got 24 points on the season, 7 assists and 2 steals on average. New Mexico shoots incredibly well. I mentioned they shot 50.7% last game. They shoot 56.7% on the season. They're averaging 40 rebounds a game and 19 assists. So you got a team that scores a ton of points. On the other side of things with La Tech, they haven't really gone out on the road and put the cruiser in gear here. They got La Tech's first road game was against Colorado State. They got slapped right in the mouth, right? They lost 81-73. Granted, it was the first game on the road of the season. Then they went out and played a ULM team. ULM, shout out to anybody that went to ULM, but that's got to be the shittiest program in pretty much all of sports. And their football team stinks. Their basketball teams continue to stink. The only team they seem to really battle against is ULL. So for what that's worth. Go Cajuns. But, then you look at they games against Lyon, Southern Utah, McNeese as well. They're just not a battle-tested team, but they do draw fouls, and they can shoot those free throws pretty well and competitive. That concerns me a little bit about the total on the game, but okay. You play Dillard. Your number one guy, Devin Reed, gets 21 points. Daniel Bathko gets 17 points and 14 rebounds for a double-double. I mean, those guys got to be feeling real good about themselves. And then they're going to come out here and they're going to play a team that pushes pace, runs one of the fastest paces in the country. They don't turn the ball over. They generate turnovers. And really, their only loss on the season was to a team in St. Mary's where, I think we were on the other side of that one. But we'll take it and run with it here because they came back from that road game against St. Mary's. They tightened things up. They went into that non-con tournament. They beat everybody up. Now they're coming back home, and I think they put boots to ass on La Tech.
Let's line shop for you and see if we can get at least a half point off of that spot here. And we can. My bookie hanging a 7. So we'll give you that -7 at -110 for this spot with New Mexico. -7. -110 for the Lobos. I'm interested in that. Very interested in that. La Tech getting all the cash on them and it's not moving. Makes that appealing. Alabama A&M, Colorado. Alabama A&M right now I feel like is a smash spot. I should bet it during the show because I think it'll change too fast. Love the look there. Then you have Colorado and New Mexico. Let's roll into your final spot here on the board. This is that perfect D-Gen action for us. 11 p.m. Eastern, late night action. Eastern Washington 1-5, 0-5 on the road at USC. Trojans 4-2, 2-1 at home. Let's get into the setup for our guy Mikey. Eastern Washington has not beaten a Div 1 opponent so far this year, but they've played pretty well. I mean, at Ole Miss they lose 75-64. At Cincinnati they lose by 12. Now they lost badly to Stanford, but Washington State they lose by 10. They're in these basketball games. For USC, they're coming off that 72-70 loss to Oklahoma in the Caribbean. I think it was in the Caribbean. Let's move on to the line history here for this one. We have sitting now at 17.5. It is a juiced 17.5 for Eastern Washington. So it's really a 17. This opened up at 18.5 at 3:44 yesterday. It became an 18 at 10 at night. And then at 11 at night, it became a 17. Then it's popped up a half point, but it's not a real half point. It really is a 17 right now. So we have a move towards the Eastern Washington Eagles. Let's get into the total for this one. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Let's get into the total here for this one. I thought I had it set up. I don't. Do I have it set up here? And the answer is no. So from a total side of things, this is the last game on the board, so easy to find. We're sitting at a 154.5. This opened up at 153.5, so we've gone up 1 point on this late night game. And then when we get to the cash flow, you have 36% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on Eastern Washington to cover here. 67% of the tickets and 99% of cash on the under. The question is, yes, USC is coming off of a loss, but are they going to be ready to go at home, coming back from the Caribbean against a weak Eastern Washington basketball team? That is the question. Oh, it was in San Diego. Thank you, Raymond. In San Diego. Now, Tom Miggins is on USC minus 17.5. Take it away for us here, Mikey M, Eastern Washington, USC.
Yeah, I'm either going to have a really good day and nobody's going to be in the chat tomorrow, or I'm going to have a real shit day and everyone's going to be the first ones in to talk shit about my plays here because I'm taking the points again. And I think at the end of the day, I respect all the guys in the chat and I didn't shout them out yet, so I appreciate everybody jumping in here. There's Nasty Nate with the late night special, baby. I like that little late night special. Shine the light on me, Nasty Nate. But when we look at this game, there's two players, in my opinion, that you need to be concerned with for USC. There's Bronny James. Medical conditions kind of took him out of the equation. And then you got Boogie Ellis. And yeah, I mean, he's a good dude out there. He goes out there and crushes. He put up 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Any other stat line for any other team, that would be solid. They still lost that game, though, and they lost by 2 points as a favorite. So, yeah, he's averaging 20.2 points a season. He shoots 43.8% and 40% from the threes. He's a pretty complete player, but he's really the only player out there. USC is not a really strong shooting team, and the challenge here for Eastern Washington is going to be to hang on. And I think what happens is it's the back door that they hang on to here because they're not a defensive team. They're not going to go out there and battle you. They give up 80.7 points a game from a defensive perspective. But I just think in this case here, if you look at what's happened with USC, right? First of all, we know they had that game that they lost to UC Irvine. They're also coming off that road loss to Oklahoma, non-divisional spot out there. But if you talk about the story for a team like Eastern Washington, just a series of road games, right? 6 road games in a row, all against Power 5 schools. So they're not out there playing cupcakes. And what is that important for? What is that impactful for? If you guys remember a couple weeks back, I talked about kind of the direction that the coach feels this team is moving in. David Riley was an internal guy within the program. And that Shante Legans was the guy that was the original head coach there that moved on out to Seattle. After he moved out, they gave David Riley the keys to the bus. What did he do in the first season? He went to the TBC, gave the team extra time in terms of conference play to be able to instill his program, get the team to gel and get the chemistry. Year number 2, what happens? They go to the NIT. They get to the second round of the NIT. This coach runs a 41-27 record. He's got the players he wants, and he's taking them out there on the road because he wants to go out there and get battle tested and build that resume. They're not just short-sighted here trying to win the conference. They want to try to sneak into this tournament. And with a 1-5 spot, it's going to be difficult. But they're 3-2 against the spread. USC on the flip side is 1-2 against the spread at home. We just talked about the Bronny Jr. factor not playing out there. It's going to be a struggle to hang on, but I think you got a motivated team here in Eastern Washington that, yeah, they want their first D1 win, but at 17.5 points, when you talked about that cash flow in the splits, I forgot the exact numbers, but it was like 35% of the bets and 94% of the cash is on Eastern Washington. Well, guess what, folks? That means the sharp money, the big bettors, the guys that can move the line are taking Eastern Washington in the points, and the squares and the public are jumping in saying, oh, USC is going to dominate this team because Eastern Washington's 1-5. Put me on that side with the big money, the guys that are effective and effectively moving that line with Eastern Washington. I think it's a motivation spot here, and I think USC gets caught sleeping at the wheel.
And your thought process on the full game instead of the first half is that there's no defense being played by USC. And if they're up 24-25, you think Eastern Washington's just going to keep firing on all cylinders while USC empties the bench?
Yeah, I'm not a big first half player to begin with. I know a lot of guys last night were looking at like Pitt first half. Pitt first half takes the L. That was a game that I was on, and I played that spot there. I was talking with a buddy of mine that kind of swayed me in that direction, and I want the full game. If I'm going to lose it, at least let me lose it in the full game. But yeah, I think USC comes out there. They do shoot well, and we know Eastern Washington doesn't play defense. But we know that USC is going to have to get in there and start to rest some of those players after they go up maybe 24, 25 points. We've seen it a ton where they go up 24, 25, and then over the course of the second half of that game, it shrinks down to maybe 15, 16 points, and we get that backdoor cover. So I want as much of the game as possible with the points in this case because I want to see that bench come out there and struggle. I just talked about Boogie Ellis kind of being the one-man band for USC, and then they're going to have to go to freshmen and sophomores to try to go out there and compete against a team in Eastern Washington who doesn't want to quit.
I like it, Mike. I find your spots very appealing, especially the Alabama A&M spot. We have Mikey moving on Lipscomb -2.5 to get his day started. They got off to a good start, and then I stopped following along. Let's see right now. Go over to Div 1. And we have 14-14 right now. Low scoring first half, sleepy first half for these guys. Might be nice live bet on the over. All these early starts kind of start slowly. Troy Torrance on Lipscomb first half -1.5. Lipscomb -2.5 -118 for Mike M. Then he's on UC Irvine +5.5 -105, and he also moved on the money line there. And I hope I didn't force that on you. Then Alabama A&M +7, Colorado +3 at -115. The Lobos of New Mexico in the pit -7 -110, and then Eastern Washington +17.5 at -110. Mikey, big last call show for you this evening. Why don't you tell the chat a little bit about what's going to happen? What sports are you focusing on? What's going to pop off tonight? 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Pub Sports Radio.
Yeah, they blessed. It's a big college basketball card, but it's a manageable NBA card, and of course the NHL card's got a 3-game spot for us. So we're gonna dive deep. We're gonna have some player props tonight. Man, we cashed a couple of great plus 120 spots, plus 130 spots on the prop market last night, and the NBA was firing for us. If it wasn't for that bullshit Houston penalty in the Rockets game, we would have had a monster night when it came down to it. But it was a great night last night. We're going to continue to build. We're scrapping away at this thing. And look, we might not push you onto plays, but maybe we'll take you off of plays. And that's what this is all about, right? I talked about that NC State game. There was another couple of games throughout the week that have been in the same spot where we've seen that line movement not move in the direction we want. Couple that with some suspected injury factors there. The chat chimes in and does a great job as well. And it's a collective effort to try to give everybody an opportunity to cook the book. So join me tonight, 6 o'clock. We got a great show coming up, and we'll keep it rolling for you guys, man. Appreciate the opportunity today. Shout out to the chat and everybody that's out there. Gold 44 Tees, Al Cervic, Top Plays, Nikolai. I know our guy, Troy Torrance, is out there as well. So I appreciate everybody, man. Shout out to Big Boss. I see him back there backstage as well.
I love it. There he is, Mikey M, star of the Pimp Slap play of the day, the ribeye play of the day, and star of Last Call. Nice to see everybody rolling here with us. We go from college basketball to college football up next. Let's just review all the action that's been on the show thus far. In NHL, look, I'm square and comfortable. I'm on the home teams on the -1 line. I'm also on the Red Wings, team total under 2.5 without Dylan Larkin this evening. In college basketball, Justin McElvey. Oh, and the spreadsheet play of the day is the Columbus Blue Jackets. And in our college basketball stacks play today, Detroit Mercy +7 right now is the stacks play today. North Carolina money line from Daby Cab, Texas A&M money line, and Duke first half -2.5 and -110. I am interested in Arkansas stepping up here at home, without Draymond. I'm going to have to think about that one a little more. Then Mikey just gave us Lipscomb -2.5, UC Irvine +5.5, Alabama A&M +7, Colorado +3, New Mexico -7, Eastern Washington +17.5. We move from college basketball to college football, and you might see the shirt that I am wearing here. It is the boss and the sauce right here. Two cappers that I pushed very hard to become a part of our programming when I was down in Costa Rica, and they've gone on to great things, and I love capping with them, and I also love partying with them. I've had the pleasure of doing that at Pubapalooza the last 2 years. Pubapalooza coming up March 22nd to 24th in San Antonio. Friday, Saturday, Sunday of action for us. Friday, of course, is the poker game. Saturday is the Suns Spurs. Sunday is the comedy show and karaoke. But on Saturday night and Sunday night, we'll have the poker table. I will negotiate for the table as soon as our tournament's over. And the negotiation process has not gone well for me. Let's move on to college football. I'm so excited to bring these two cappers up onto the screen. We'll start with the star of Who Bangin' Sports, coming to us from Long Beach, California. I wish I was sitting in his backyard, smelling the barbecue, drinking some yakety yak right now. But at least I get to cap with him. Please welcome Mr. DJ Big Boss to the show. Boss, how are you?
What up, though, Jimmy? It's been a minute, man. Hey, salute to you for all you've ever done for me, man. I appreciate everything. But you know what? Boss Burgers in Vegas is sitting on top right now. So I'm just chilling at Grandma Franklin's ranch right here. You know what I'm saying? Now, Grandma Franklin, she the one that used to let me be in there past visiting hours and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
But now she got a full decked out service right here. I'm out over here by the pool. Got these beautiful ladies behind me, and I'm just living the life, Jimmy.
Man, you are. We've seen you live the life many times before, but this is new. This is new, and I like it.
Yeah,
I like
yeah. I'll talk to Down syndrome Judy on the end over there and see if
sure.
she can invite you up.
I'd be very interested. I'd be very, very
Absolutely.
interested in Judy.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Ricky
Yes.
Levine says, beautiful day here in the LBC. Let's bring on the sauce. We have the boss. Let's bring on the sauce. Everybody trying to catch the sauce in NFL. the Sauce, our season 1 champion, looking to be the season 3 champion as well. He came 4th in season 2. How's that for consistency? Right now, our leader in NFL Pub Hub, but college football is his bread and butter. Please welcome from Ocala, Florida, by way of New York City, we have the Big Ragoo on the show.
Yeah,
Dawson,
baby, you know it. Hey, somebody, I guess the old ladies must have dressed us today. They called ahead. We got our uniforms on for school. Guess what? Class is in session, baby. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
I've kept this real nice and crisp for years now. I love this shirt. Let's get to work, fellas. We have a huge card ahead of us, and we are going to talk each and every Conference USA championship game. Let's get right after it. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern for the New Mexico State Aggies. This is Friday, December 1st. New Mexico State Aggies 10-3, 7-1 in conference at the Liberty Flames, 12-0, 8-0 in conference. We're at Williams Stadium in Lynchburg, Virginia. 48 Fahrenheit. Cloudy, 4 miles per hour. There are no real concerns weather-wise on Friday, and there's only 2 games. On Saturday, across North America, it is raining. Raining across North America on Saturday. We'll get into all of that. But let's roll here and hear what our guys have to say. Let me just get this all over to college football. And we'll go back and forth with you guys. We'll give the one person, we'll let Big Boss get this started, then we'll get Ragoo to start the next one. But here we go. The Conference USA Championship has Liberty right now as 10 and now 11-point favorites. 11-point favorites for Liberty. They opened up at 11, dropped down to 10 for a little while, 10.5. Now we're back at 11 from a total. And we also have Nasty Nate's cousin, a dominant tight end for the Aggies. From a total side of things, this total opened up at 53.5 and has climbed all the way up to 56. A huge move on the over in this one. When we get to the cash flow, we'll have a lot of it as these are conference championship games, and this is a nice look-ahead spot for us. Sorry, that was the wrong thing. Let me get this up here. From a cash flow side of things here, I'll have all this smooth for the rest of the games. But here for the first one, 63% of the tickets, 73% of the cash on New Mexico State, and yet it's moved a half point towards Liberty. And from a total side of things, 89% of the tickets, 77% cash on the over. We'll start with you, DJ Big Boss, Conference USA Championship, Aggies, Flames.
Hey, easy money. It's a dog world this weekend coming up, and I'm gonna have to roll with the dogs. I'm going with New Mexico State. Give me the 10.5. Jerry Kill, he's been building this team step by step, and look where we are now. Is all I have to say. So I'm gonna stick behind my guy Jerry Kill. Liberty has a fast pace, put up a lot of points, but if you look at the numbers a little bit, they very similar in a lot of spots. So I think 10.5 is way too many points in this one. So I'm jumping on New Mexico State. As far as the total, I don't know. I'm leaning pretty much under in everything because we know how these huge games on prime time and stuff like that, coaches tend to slow things down, to keep the game in front of them. So I'm leaning towards the under, but I'm not going to make a move on that. I think the most value in this game is taking New Mexico State plus 10.5.
New Mexico State plus 10.5. Well, I'll get you the plus 11 for DJ Big Boss. Let's see what Ragoo has to say about this one. Take it away, Ragoo, Conference USA Championship.
All right. So now we get 2 teams that show up to Conference USA that were independents last year. And all of a sudden, we know the story about Madison, right? Madison rolled hard. The Sun Belt, Fun Belt. I mean, it's been a lot of fun for some of the other squads, but Conference USA play now, a little bit different style here. To Liberty's credit, when they came at FBS eligible in 2019, they reeled off 8 games, right? And then 2020 they went 10-1. Now they're off of back-to-back years. They're looking at 10-0, 8-5, and 8-5 this year, 10-0. So we get a lit up Liberty, no pun intended, Flame team that's playing good. 7-0 at home, 4-3 ATS, 3-2 to the overs. New Mexico State, nice season. Finished up 5-2 on the road, 6-1 ATS, 1-6 to the under. So what does that equate to? So Chadwell came over from Coastal to run things for the squad. Salter has been a nice job at QB. He's passed for a ton of yardage. And Pavia also for New Mexico State, which DJ could attest to. He had, 2,800 yards passing. So a lot of equals in the quarterback, like DJ say, a lot of things go both ways. But here's the interesting take for me on this one, right? So New Mexico State played a 13-game schedule, 10-3 on the year. They really never had a bye week per se. They've had like a shortened week where they played a week and then they've had like come back maybe 10 days, play another game. So this team has never had a week off. So they've been rolling the whole season playing tough football. Now they got to go back to Lynchburg and play this team again where they lost in week 2, right? Where they got beat up pretty good as a dog, 33-17. They didn't get the cover there. But an interesting twist on this look here. So Keel played 2 weeks ago, played a team called Auburn and went in there and stomped that mud hole in their ass. And I think now the tables are going to be turned on this spot here because New Mexico is going to be a live dog. They're going to run against that same offense that Hugh Freeze left, that they beat at Auburn. A lot of the players left over. And I think he's going to take that to heart here. And they're going to come into town. And I think they're live to win, okay? I'm not going to take them here, but the 10.5, 11, I'll take that all day long. So 2 looks here for me is Freeze, going up against Freeze at Auburn, going against his old squad here. Early in the season, like I say, took the second game, took that as an L. But I think they've matured. I mean, they've been rolling. They dotted some games early in the season, but this team has won like 6 or 7 in a row, playing hot as anybody in football right now. Give me the Aggies plus the 11, plus the 10.5, whatever you get. And maybe not for show purpose, but I would sprinkle on the money line when I get to the window.
I like it. Both our cappers on New Mexico State. And again, Nasty Nate's cousin, his nephew. I think his nephew, tight end there, the starting tight end for the Aggies. We'll all be cheering for New Mexico State. Are you going to be betting them? DC Capper is on Liberty -10, but I find it very appealing to back your guys' plan here on New Mexico State plus the points and back our guy Nasty Nate's fam. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, the Pac-12 championship. Number 5 ranked Oregon Ducks, 11-1, 8-1 in the Pac-12. And number 3 ranked Washington Huskies, 12-0, 9-0 in the Pac-12. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. What a wild spread here. We all remember who gave Oregon their loss. But now they play with everything on the line, and Washington are 9-point dogs. 9-point dogs. They opened up at 9. It got up to 10. It's right back at 9. This total sitting at 66. Opened up at 67. It's dropped a point. We get to the cash flow here in this one. We have, move over to the spread. We have 42% of the tickets and 69% of the cash on the Oregon Ducks to smash and grab and get into the college football playoffs. Washington has, and on the under, 80% of the tickets and 88% of the cash. It has dropped 1 point. North Ender says this line is very telling in his opinion. Oregon -9 for him. Take it away, Ragoo. We will start with you and then go back to Boss for the first one on Saturday. Take it away. Oregon, Washington, Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, you're looking at the possible Heisman Bowl here, right? Both quarterbacks have been unbelievably played well throughout the whole season. Nix, Penix, I mean, you can't ask for a better quarterback matchup on the field for this particular game. This game, it's going to take a life of its own. So it's always hard to beat the same team twice in the season. We know that, right? We know what happened in the first matchup. And the Ducks, they got a little bit of revenge on their mind, obviously, and they're playing lights out football right now. And not to take nothing away from the way Washington's been playing, but they've had some shaky spots coming in. They needed like a last-minute score to beat Arizona State, in that game there. So, backing in a little bit possibly, but, to me, this is going to be all about what the defenses make to make the adjustments here to slow these high-power offenses down. And I like me some overs in the Pac-12, but I've caught a couple unders along the way too. On the side, it's a little tricky here with this number. Like I say, the way Oregon's playing, I don't want to really step in front of them. But then again, where's the respect for Washington in this spot too? I know it's neutral field, neutral site, so I'm considering these both road teams. Oregon's been 4-0 on the road. Washington 5-0 on the road. and they've covered every game on the road too, by the way. And Washington's been 2-3, 5 games, 5-0 on the road, 2-3 against the number, 1-3 to the unders where Oregon split. So I kind of lean under here. I really do. I think both coaches will make some adjustments, especially Oregon on the Oregon side to Penix, and then I think Oregon maybe gets a trench battle possibly. I'm not sure if they cover, but I think they win. But I lean under. I like the under better than the side here, so I lean under on this spot.
A lean to the under and no move on the side at this point. Take it away, DJ Big Boss. Pac-12 championship. What's your move?
Right away, I'm back on the dogs again in this one. It's just more value in the dog in this situation. But the play, that's just the side I'm on. But the play that I really like the best in this one is first half over. So I watched the last game between these two guys, and they like to play tit for tat. They got enough high power weapons to throw the ball and all that. So I think the game's gonna go over in the first half, and then they're gonna make some adjustments, and it's gonna get a little tight in the second half. But I like what Ragoo's saying about the under in the full game as well. But I think that they're gonna start off just going at each other early. So I like first half over, and I'm leaning hard on Washington plus the points.
Let's grab that for you. The first half over in Oregon, Washington sitting at 33. Now, some books have moved it to 33.5. This is not moved at penny. In fact, it's juiced to the under, which means could give you a 32.5. Why don't we just take a look at what that would cost very quickly before we move into Saturday action, though. So here we go. The Oregon, Washington first half total at 33. And they're not giving us any options here. Not giving us any options. So over 33 for you is minus 103. First half over 33 minus 103. And Doc, nothing official for you in the Pac-12 championship?
No, I'm off as of right now.
All right, let's roll on. Tease, thank you for the kind words, my friend. We move on to the Big 12 championship. This will be our NCAA football live stream this Saturday. Big 12 championship starring Connor Mack and Daby Cab. Number 18th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys 9-3-7-2 in the Big 12. At number 7, Texas Longhorns 11-1, 8-1 in the Big 12. We're at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Let's get into the line history here for this one and the cash flow. We have over here. We have Texas right now as 15-point favorites. This opened up as 11.5-point favorites and has just climbed and climbed and climbed. That 15.5 is even juiced right now. From the total in this one, we are sitting here with a 56. It's juiced to the over. This opened up at 53.5, and we're now at 56. So we have a big move to the over, a bigger move towards Texas. 37% of the tickets, 41% of the cash is on the under. And from a point spread side of things, we have, move over here. We have 49% of the tickets and 62% of the cash. 51% of the tickets are on Oklahoma State, and yet we are now at a 15. DJ Big Boss, we start with you for the Big 12 championship, Oklahoma State, Texas Longhorns.
Hey, the dog is live again, but I don't know. I don't trust Oklahoma State. They've been kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Even Texas at times can be Jekyll and Hyde. But Texas does have a really, really strong defense. But we've seen teams move the ball on them. This is a big game right here. I do believe that Oklahoma can score, put up a couple touchdowns. But I think Texas will score as well. So in these type of situations over here in the Big 12, I like to go straight up with the over in this game.
An over from DJ Big Boss. Let's hear what Big Ragoo has to say about the Big 12 championship. Take it away, Doc.
Yeah. Well, Oklahoma State's got a running back named Ollie Gordon, probably one of the best running backs in the nation. We can't put him up there with Barry Sanders or Thurman Thomas or even the Canadian Cowboy yet, but he's been spectacular. 1,600 yards rushing. On the other side of the ball, offensively, that team runs through Quinn Ewers. We'll see what he puts on the table. Like DJ was saying, the Oklahoma State Cowboys They are kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team, and that's they can show up and play a ton of defense and shut it down, and they can come up and play a ton of offense and not play nothing on the defensive side. So they're really hard to figure out, and I've been real spotty with them this year. Texas, we know where they live. They're a defensive-minded team. They get the job done. They haven't done a great job covering double digits, though. That's one thing they haven't done all year. And this game's in Arlington. They're 5-1. It's a semi-quasi home game for them. It's almost kind of like a Red River type game here. Oklahoma on the road, they've struggled 2-3, 2-3 ATS also. So I think the defenses are going to show up on this particular spot. Sometimes you got to push back. I've done it before. I've pushed back with conviction. I like the under here. I think even though my numbers show me that there's a little bit of value towards the over, I think both defenses are more than capable. I know Texas's defense is going to show up. If Oak State's defense shows up, I think they can keep it close, and I think they might even get a cover here. So I'm going to be on the full game under with this spot here.
Ragoo on the other side. Ragoo under 56.5.
This is a crapshoot.
56.5.
I got a good vibe on the under.
Well, if it hits 56, you can both win. Boss on the over 55.5 minus 108 over at Heritage. Ragoo on the under 56.5 minus 110 over at Bet Chris and Bookmaker. We roll on to the MAC championship. Toledo has looked so good all year. Opening up as 8-point favorites, this drops a half point to minus 7.5. We are at Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. The Red Hawks 10-2 this year, 7-1 in conference. Toledo 11-1, 8-0 in conference. From a total scenario, we're sitting at a 44. This opened up at 46. We've dropped 2 points to 44. So we've had a half-point move to the Red Hawks and a 2-point move to the under. When we get to the cash flow, 83% of the tickets and 91% of the cash is on these Red Hawks. And when we get to the total, 85% of tickets and 98% of cash is on the under. 98% of the cash on the under in the MAC championship.
Wow.
Ragoo, we will start with you. Red Hawks, Rockets, Ford Field for the MAC championship.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Miami, Ohio, Gabbert, he's out. That's the thing. He's a big part of that, big part of the offense. But one thing that Miami brings is the D. And I get the under look and I get the Miami look there, without question. I'm usually not a big Maxion type of guy. The Rockets, they 11-1, 5-1 on the road, 3-3 on the splits, for the number. But Toledo, they could put the ball up, they could score points too. The number kind of put me off a little bit because my numbers come out to actually to the over, but that's I gotta take the QB out of there for about 4 points, 4.5 points there. So that doesn't give me the value that I once wanted, and hence I think some of the sharps are on that number too to run it down to the under. But this is a team that runs the ball 2 out of every 3 possessions. So they're going to be pretty predictable here. Toledo can play just a little bit of defense, which they can, but they're more offensive geared team. I think they could they could score points. I take that back. They do play their top 20 offense ranked, and their numbers right at the the 20th. But those are skewed numbers. We know the level of competition they play here, but to go up against a Miami team that's kind of nicked up a little bit, and some of the sharps are on the Miami side, that kind of put me off a little bit. So I still think the game gets under, though. I still like it. I'm gonna take the shorter number here, and I'm gonna take the under here in this spot. I think Miami's defense is stout. I think Toledo's defense is good enough against a nicked up Miami offense, and I think the game holds down, and I think we see like a 2017, 27-20 type, or 27-20 doesn't get us the money, but 24-20, somewhere in that range.
Looking at the under for the Big Ragoo. Let's hear what DJ Big Boss doing with the MAC championship. Take it away, boss.
I love me some weekday MAC, but the MAC kind of gets me caught up on the weekends. I don't know why this is. So I'm not making it to the window in this game, but I agree with the under. Both teams are about 60% run. But, it tell a two story. Sometimes that makes a team have to pass or whatever. But usually in the MAC, it's usually a higher ranked team versus one of the mediocre or lower ranked teams. But when two top teams head off, the defense and everything's going to come into play. So I like the under in this one, but I'm not getting to the window with it.
Ragoo has made it official. The under 44 minus 107. Boss agreeing, but not moving on it. Let's move on to the Mountain West, where DJ Big Boss does it best. The championship here. Boise State Broncos 7-5, 6-2 in conference at the UNLV Rebels 9-3, 6-2 in conference. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. And Boise State right now 2.5-point favorites. This opened up at 3, moved to 2.5, went down to 2. It's back at 2.5, and it is juiced towards Boise. From a total scenario here for this one, we have a 59 at Pinnacle. This opened up at 58.5 and has climbed a half point. And when we get to the cash flow for this one, you have 92% of tickets and 97% of the cash on the over. On the spread, you have 34% of tickets and 84% of cash on Boise, but we have slipped under that key number of 3 down to 2.5. Got down to 2, back at 2.5. Take it away for us, DJ Big Boss. Where you do it best, the Mountain West Championship.
This is another one of those games that right off the bat, I think they're going to go tit for tat and going to get a first half over. So I like the first half over in this one. But as far as the side, this one, I lose sleep over stuff like this. I like UNLV, new coach Barry Odom. We seen this came when Blake came with Utah State to the Mountain West and he won the championship. Boise State and Andy Avalos. Andy Avalos needs to hold on to his job right here because he's sitting in the middle of the hot seat sometimes. So I predicted early in the season that Boise State was going to come back and take over the Mountain West. But I've been cashing so much off of UNLV, it's ridiculous. So, in this one, I'm running with. I'm gonna just let it hang out and money line UNLV. Like I keep saying every week, their athleticism is so high, and they're not even all the way at their peak. If they can fine tune a couple things, they'll be really really tough. But the fact that the coach, a good coach like Barry Odom, comes over into the Mountain West, Andy Avalos, he doesn't know much about what's going on. He's just gonna come out and try to do the best he can. But to speak up for Boise State, though, they do finally have healthy backs with Gentry and Holani. Holani, every game that Holani has ran over 100 yards, they've won the game. So, that's enough. If y'all listening in the chat, take it how you want to take it. But I'm already up money in UNLV. I'm gonna keep riding the UNLV train. It's at home, Allegiant Stadium. Probably be the first significant game won at Allegiant Stadium because you can't count on the Raiders for shit. But UNLV money line. But first half over is where it's gonna action. That's gonna be the action right there.
First half over 28.5 at minus 110. That's available at a couple different books. You see that Pinnacle, Bovada. There are 29s. As well, but 28.5 is there. And then Moneyline Bookmaker giving out the best number at plus 120 for UNLV Moneyline. Big Ragoo, Mountain West. What are your thoughts here?
I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. UNLV's got the better record, playing at home, score more points a game. Maybe it's a take on their last game against San Jose, right, DJ? Where they kind of gave up the ghost a little bit there. Coming in, backing into this game possibly, but I don't know. I guess they're pretty healthy. I don't see nothing that's gonna, turn on a bunch of bells and whistles here. But I don't know. I've been cashing on UNLV. They've been one of the best teams to back, with the on the spread 10-2 ATS 9-3. Throughout the season, 5-1 at home, 4-2. Those two letdowns on the 10-2 have been at home, but. I mean, Boise's been there, done that before. It's not your mom and dad's Boise team. It's not your Peterson team. But, I think they're getting healthy, and I think the Sharps are on this side. And I tend to agree a little bit with that look there, with Boise getting healthier and having pieces all the way around. And maybe some at times, UNLV's defense is leaky. But I still think they're going to score points. I think UNLV is still going to put up points. I think Boise's going to put up points. And this was like a 50-50 split for me to back the side of the total here, but I've been doing so good with UNLV totals. I don't want to back down now. So, and I think, they're going to give up some points here. So to me, this is one of my highest rated totals on the board here. I got double digits value in this one. So I hate keep just giving, overs and unders, but it gets us paid and we get paid on this one. Put me on a full game over here, I think. And then I was going to take Boise, but I'm going to back off of that. I know the sharps are on them, but UNLV with a game like this, a lot of back and forth, like tit for tat, like DJ says, it could be a last possession type of game. But either way, I think points are coming. So put me on the over here with confidence.
The over with confidence, over 59 and minus 108 is the best line we can get you. Over full game, over 59 at minus 108. So Ragoo on the full game, Boss on the first half over, and UNLV money line plus 120. Let's move on to the SEC Championship, 4 p.m. Eastern. The number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs, 12-0, 8-0 in the SEC, versus number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide, 11-1, 8-0 in the SEC. We're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia for this one. Let's set the table. Both teams running real nice, although Alabama had some trouble to get past Auburn, needed a miracle play late, keep their college football playoff hopes alive. Georgia Bulldogs, 2 road games in a row. They look great against Tennessee and just got past Georgia Tech 31-23, but have been looking very good at home. And this one taking place in Atlanta, neutral site spot. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, the big one. We have Alabama now as 6-point dogs. 6-point dogs. They opened up as 4.5-point dogs. They've got up to 6.5-point dogs 2 days ago. Got back to 5.5. Now it's at 6, sitting at 6. So a 1.5-point move towards the Bulldogs. From a total side of things, we're sitting at a 53.5. This opened up at 56. We've dropped 2.5 points. And from a cash flow standpoint, 66% of tickets, 65% of cash is on the Bulldogs. Market moving in their direction. And then 68% tickets, 71% cash on the under. Here we go. Georgia, Alabama. Big Ragoo, we start with you. Take it away.
Let's get it done, guys. Hey, 29 consecutive W's for this Bulldog squad. They're on a hell of a run. These two teams have a storied past, obviously, we know. In the SEC championship game, in Atlanta, both times they played, Alabama has won those championship games. Now, they beat them in the national championship, but they never met in the SEC championship game that year. So, but yeah, I mean, you look at that Auburn game, that was a miracle play for them to get in, stay bowl eligible, or not bowl eligible, stay, SEC championship. They were going to play SEC championship, but stay live for the playoffs. So they need some help. They need Florida State to lose. They need Washington to lose. That's how Alabama gets in with the win over Georgia. So in my book, that's what you never know how these fucking assholes think on the college boards, how they put these teams together. But if all 4 teams win out, Georgia, Florida State, and Washington and Michigan, and there's no question who goes to the playoff. But this game, I like the points here, guys. I like the points. Yeah, they escaped by the skin of their teeth. Georgia has not, I repeat, has not been convincing in covering big numbers this year. They're 12-0 with a 5-7 on the road, 5-7 ATS. They're 2-3 on the road, and semi home game for them playing in Atlanta. Bama's 5-0 on the road. Bama's been playing to some overs. I mean, they've been playing to a ton of overs, and all of these games, with the exception of the last one last year, where that game stood under by 1 point. Okay, so all the other games have been overs. Every time these teams have met, have been overs. So you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to take another over, and I'm taking Bama plus the points.
Over and Bama plus the points. I'm in the line shop for you. Let's hear what DJ Big Boss has to say about this one. Take it away. Bulldogs, Crimson Tide.
Well, in my top 5 teams in improvement, one of them has to be Alabama. They've got comfortable with their quarterback. They've been winning lately, convincingly at times. But coming in this game right here, I think the whole way that Georgia conquered Alabama years ago was they ended up outclassing them. You know, they guys are just slightly bigger, slightly faster, and they can get the job done. So there's no other way. I'm gonna agree with the chat right here. Bulldogs roll, but I'm not gonna play this one. If anything, I'll probably play it in some weird exotic on the money line for Georgia. But because I do think that the game could come down to a field goal or something like that. I agree with what Big Ragoo is saying as far as Alabama with the total.
Yeah, they only beat them one time. That's it.
But like I said, they are outclassed. They outclassed nowadays, and it took some time for Ryan Day to get him there. But he's got him there, and they gonna smash, man. They gonna keep it rolling. Alabama, you're gonna see some of the Alabama we saw earlier in the season where they sputter a little bit. I don't think they're gonna be clicking on all cylinders in this one, but. Coaching wise, Saban's gonna keep him in the game. That's his job, is to keep him with an opportunity to win. So I think it comes down to a field goal or somewhere up in there. So I do kind of like Alabama plus the points, but I think Georgia's going to win the game outright.
I'm going to make one comment. Carson Beck, the quarterback for Georgia, the freshman from Mandarin High School in Jacksonville. I'm really surprised, how well he's kind of kept it together, and that's in a tribute to the Georgia offensive line, obviously, right, and what they, that program that they put in place. So he's been a cool customer all year. It's a big game. When these big quarterbacks get in these big games, we'll see how they react.
SEC championship, Ragoo moving on Alabama plus 6.5 and the over 53.5 minus 109. Move over to the American Athletic Championship. 2 undefeated teams in conference facing each other at Yulman Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is the first spot where weather becomes not an issue, but worth noting. 73 Fahrenheit showers, 7 miles per hour here at Yulman Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. Both teams winning football games. Tulane bounced back from that underwhelming victory over Tulsa by beating up on FAU by 16 and then beating UTSA by 13. For SMU, they just got past Memphis on the road. They just got past Rice on the road, but when they were at home, they would take teams to the woodshed, beat Navy 59-14 to set this game up. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Tulane right now sitting at minus 3.5 with no VIG. They opened up at 3, interestingly enough. So this went from 3 to 2.5, and then it just started climbing all the way up to 6. This was at 6 on Monday, and then the buyback started happening, and we're down to 3.5 with SMU juiced. So wild line history there for that one. And then totals wise, we're sitting with a 47 and SMU Tulane, both teams known for their strong defense. This opened up at 52.5 and has dropped 5.5 points at Pinnacle. What a wild move. Take it away, DJ Big Boss. SMU Mustangs, Tulane Green Wave.
I'm totally off on this. This 2 teams that I really haven't paid much focus to this year. I haven't been playing really out of the American. I haven't played much out of the Sun Coast. The Sun Belt, I'm sorry. But no, I don't. I have had some glimpses of Tulane. I seen they're really tough. I seen SMU can get to the board a little bit, but I'm totally off of this game. I'm off of it.
Off of the AAC. Let's head over to Big Ragoo and hear his plan. What is your plan, if you have one, for SMU Tulane Green Wave? Oh, wait, we lost. There we go.
Okay. Anyways, interesting game here, guys. The big take on this one is Preston Stone, the SMU quarterback. So that kind of puts he's still very, very talented, but when you take a key cog out of that, where 2 teams are pretty evenly matched in my book coming in, Tulane being the ranked team, SMU's been a top level team for a few years now, high octane offense. And like you said, Tulane's just been, the only loss Tulane took, I think, was Ole Miss early in the season. And their quarterback, he's got some big numbers. Michael Pratt, he's got 21 touchdowns versus 4 picks, over 2,000 yards passing. and he can take off and run. Last year in this game, I guess he had three TDs with no picks and also ran for 70 yards. So they didn't have an answer from this last year. What are they going to bring this year? So this is a game that I see a lot of back and forth. But you know what? Funny thing is, the totals is kind of lower than I thought it would be, and I get that's attributed to Stone possibly not playing. So and then SMU's also got 3 running backs that are very capable, averaging over 5 yards per carry. So I wanted to get to the window with SMU here, but I don't think I am. So I'm going to be off of this spot here. But 48.5 and what is it? 5.5 is the number, or 47.5 and 3.5. So that number is dropping, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah, from 52.5 at Pinnacle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But how's the spread move?
The spread here has just all over the map at Pinnacle. Yeah. This opened up at 3, went down to 2.5, and then with the injury news, got all the way up to 6. We've had buyback back to 3.5. So U-shaped movement.
Yeah, it's not going to be a confident one for me, so I'm going to elect the pass. But I just want to stress the fact about Preston Stone being out and Pratt's success last year in this game against them. So when they played last year. So either way, it's going to be a tough look here for me.
AAC no action. Let's move over to the Sun Belt Fun Belt here. App State Mountaineers 8-4, 6-2 in the Sun Belt. Troy Trojans 10-2, 7-1 in the Sun Belt. Veterans Memorial Stadium in Troy, Alabama. Let's go. 72 Fahrenheit rain, 7 miles per hour. Too bad we don't get to see James Madison in this one. Take a look at the line history here. We have the total sitting at 52.5, opened up at 51.5. We have a 1-point move towards the over. Let's get over here. We go. And then we go over to the spread and the cash flow. For the spread, Troy opening up at some books at -6. Pinnacle opened up at 6.5. This move to 7 was the first move, 7. And now we've come back through that key number of 6 down to 5.5 here. Get this up. And then in the cash flow for this one, we have 91% of tickets and 94% of the cash on the over. 91 and 94. That's pretty wild. And then sidewise, 66% of tickets and 72% of the cash on Troy. And yet this has moved from 6.5 up to 7, down to 5.5. It feels like App might be the team of the moment. They've been running so strong, especially that overtime win over James Madison at James Madison, following up by destroying Georgia Southern. I mean, they weren't just beating teams this last month. They destroyed Marshall 31-9. They destroyed at Georgia State 42-14. And then we talked about James Madison spot. And then they beat up on Georgia Southern 55-27 to roll into this one. And Troy's defense has been very, very strong all year long, leading them to the 7-1 conference record. Let's start with you, Big Ragoo. Sun Belt, Fun Belt, Appalachian State, Troy.
Yeah, real good game here, guys. Real good game. What can we say about Troy? Their defense has been top notch all year. And probably the best conference, Group of 5. I think deep conference. A lot of good teams in this conference, and the competition of play. So both of these teams are well seasoned, traveled well, played well, the whole 9. But they were definitely better on the defensive side. Troy was than on the offense. Gunnar Watson 26-5 TD ratio, not too bad, right? But they finished like an 11th in the yards per play. A lot to like about this Troy team. That, like you said, they've handled business in a big way. But let's not discount the App State Mountaineers, what they did, right? They took down a team named James Madison that was undefeated. And we all know that they just became bowl eligible. Matter of fact, they would be playing in this game if it wasn't for, some of the FBS, weight rules and whatnot. But they're not here today, so we get Troy and App State again. But, the good thing with the App State squad is Joey Aguiar. He's thrown for over 3,200 yards, 33 TDs, and they still got about a 5 yard per average on the run game. And I got to say right now, for my money, that this App State team is the better football team on the field. So last week when I was on your show, I talked about Northwestern playing Illinois, a team that could, win that game outright. And I laid an alternative line in that game. And I came up a little short. They won the game. They won by 2. But if you backed my play on money line, you cashed all day and the 6. I'm not going to get too cute today with that, all right? But I will say this, App State will beat Troy in this game. So give me App State money line.
Wow. It feels like the Mountaineers are the horse for the course here. App State money line from the Big Ragoo. Let's hear what DJ Big Boss has to say about the Sun Belt, Fun Belt. Boss, take it away. Oh, we got you muted, my guy.
Sun Belt, Fun Belt. I haven't really indulged to this too much. I have been noticing that Troy is pretty tough. They struggled back in the day in the Sun Belt when I was into it heavy. App State, if they were at home, I'd definitely be with them 100%. Playing up there in their elements always gives them a slight advantage. But having to go on the road and come play Troy, I don't think they have as much as advantage. But if Big Ragoo said they're gonna win, and Big Ragoo said they're gonna win, so I'm gonna jump off this game. I ain't got no play on this one, Jimmy.
Hey, if you watched them last week play James Madison, you'd be on them today.
That's what's up.
Lock this in. The best line we can give you is plus 205. App State plus 205 for the Big Ragoo. We're going to stick with DJ Big Boss for the Big Ten Championship. Number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines 12-0, 9-0 in the Big Ten versus number 16 Iowa Hawkeyes 10-2, 7-2 in the Big Ten. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. That last Iowa game was tough to watch, man. I was pretty confident with my look on Nebraska. I was pretty confident there with a minute left in the game. And what Chuba was doing with that pass, I'll never know. I'll never know. That was a wild 13-10 victory for Iowa, but they're big dogs here. And Michigan coming off that huge, huge win against Ohio State. Now, can you have a letdown in the Big Ten Championship? Is that something that's even possible? Let's get into the line history here for this one. Sorry, I'm still on money line for Ragoo's App State. Look, let's get into the spread here. We have Michigan right now as 22-point favorites. They opened up as 23.5-point favorites. Look, I get this move back to Iowa. This total at 35. I guess you can say that's high for an Iowa game. This opened up at 35, got up to 35.5, and it's right back at 35. So we have a 1.5 move towards the Hawkeyes and really no move on the total. From a cash flow standpoint here, 55% of the tickets and 83% of the cash is on Michigan, yet we've moved towards Iowa. And then 31% of the tickets and 56% of the cash is on the under. I like Iowa and the under in this one, but you guys are the experts, so let's hear you guys take it away. DJ Big Boss, we'll start with you. The Big Ten Championship at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Hey, I cashed Iowa last week, so I've been cashing a couple Iowa. I've been saying it on the show, like Iowa don't have no offense, but they figure out ways to score. It's unbelievable. But against this Michigan defense, that's not going to be the case. I don't think what Iowa has to offer offensively is going to slip past Michigan's defense. Michigan's strength of this whole thing that they got going on is in the defense. Do I really want to lay 23 points with Michigan, or 24 basically, with Michigan in a game where they could just be satisfied with a win? I don't know. But the over and under, that's even set at a weird number as well, right? Because we always know high 30s, it could go over, but low 30s, it usually stays true. And they put this one right in the middle right here. So I lean heavily on the under in this one. I hope it's some extra bad weather and all that good stuff over there. And Iowa defense, they should be able to slow Michigan's offense down because Michigan runs a lot and Iowa plays good up front. And I think they can hold them a little bit, but not too much. Maybe the score of this one probably be like 17-3 or something like that.
And Kong's Clips confident best bet of the year, Michigan first half and the over. Justin McElvey on Iowa team total over 6.5, and there are no weather issues because this is at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. So perfect perfect conditions. Let's hear what Big Ragoo has to say about this. And Kelly McKinnis agreeing with Colin Clips. Kelly McKinnis saying Michigan that has no breaks. They love ass slapping. Let's hear it. And then Collins Clips take has maybe slowed me down on this here. What do you think, Big Ragoo? Take it away. Wolverines, Hawkeyes.
This is a tough one. This is a tough one here. I mean, I looked at that Iowa team total like 6.5 and said, you know what? There's enough defense in this game that somebody's gonna fucking fumble the ball, fumble Ruski. You know, here's the thing about Iowa. They're so damn disciplined when they play their defense. I mean, it's just like, I mean, I know Michigan is a different animal, and we know that they got spanked by Penn State. The only game they got shut out was Penn State. Was it 31-0, I believe it was. But all the other games they scored, 10 points or better. I mean, is Michigan going to hold them down to a shutout too? I mean, who knows? And Michigan's defense is special too. So I get the under look. I get the team total look. I mean, I get the Michigan team total over. So I want to get involved with some kind of over here, but I'm not, the 33, 34, whatever it is, the total now. I mean, I get it, but I think this thing can sneak over somehow. With all the defenses on the field, I think a defense is going to score for maybe one or possibly two scores here. And it might be on the Iowa side. It might be on the Michigan side. So I'm going to roll the dice a little bit. I'm going to say that away from it's a neutral game. It's in Indianapolis, right? So you got Michigan's not playing the big house. Iowa's not playing in Kinnick Stadium. So I'm going to lean on the Iowa team total over 6.5 points here. That's where I'm going to go with this one. Every time I get a low, I wouldn't call it low-hanging fruit, but a low-hanging opportunity, I'm going to take a shot here. Maybe Iowa's defense scores a touchdown this one. So give me Iowa team total over 6.5.
I like it.
Iowa team total over 6.5 here. I'm just going to see what Penny is doing with this one. We have one game left before we get into NBA. The Iowa team total over 6.5 minus 113. Wow. Iowa team total over 6.5 at minus 113. That is locked in. Well, that has taken me off of my plan, and I guess that's why we work with experts, so that we know when to pull the trigger and know when to stay off. And I will stay off here on this one. Let's talk about the final spot on the board. The first time I ever met the Big Ragoo, he gifted me this Florida State hat, and I still rock it very proudly. You're lagging a little bit, Ragoo. Let's pull you out. Let's pull you out. See if we can pull you out, get you back in here, and see if that works. What do you think, Jose? What should we do to get him? This is a big game here. I want him locked and loaded. We're getting a little bit of lag here. Let's see what Jose has to say. Yeah, refresh. See if Ragoo can refresh his, and we'll get him right back on here. So why don't we definitely, okay, we're in business now, I think. Looking better here. Let's get him back. Still lagging a bit, but let's bring him on for the closing of this one, because we need your take on these Florida State Seminoles, a hat I wear proudly. ACC Championship, number 14th ranked Louisville Cardinals, 10-2, 7-1 in conference, and the number 4 ranked Florida State Seminoles. We're at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. 62 Fahrenheit, rain in the forecast. Rain, 5-mile-per-hour winds here. The Seminoles, that was not an easy win at Florida, and very impressive. 90,000 fans losing their minds. Very, very impressive victory here. And Louisville coming off a wake-up call, losing to Kentucky. Not the first wake-up call they've had this year, but a wake-up call. From a side perspective, we have Florida State right now is 2.5-point favorites. They opened up as 5.5-point favorites. A huge move to the Cardinal. From a total standpoint, we're sitting with a 47.5. This opened up at 53.5. A huge move to the under. And when we get to the cash flow then for this one, 52% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on Louisville, 93% of tickets, and 99% of cash on the under. Got to start with you, Ragoo. Your Florida State Seminoles in action here, trying to get in the college football playoff. Take it away.
Yeah, support cash. That's rule number one for Florida State. Tate Rodemaker made his second start, okay? Last year in this game, Rodemaker came off the bench when Travis got hurt. Jordan Travis got hurt, and he beat these same Louisville Cardinals last year. So he's familiar with, it's not going to be his first look against this particular squad. He's got the game under his belt now. So, that like you said, 90,000, big spotlight game. It's a big game this week, too, because now there's some more at stake, for them to move on. But, let's not discount Louisville because they've been a tough out all season long. They kind of slipped up, and they were live, too, because if they beat FSU going in with one win, then you got to throw their name with a lot of help. Something can happen for them, too. But that's off the table now for Louisville. Now they're going to try to play the spoiler role here, but, Plummer and Braum, they teamed up at Purdue. That's what kind of makes this offense run, and defensively they're pretty decent overall. So they got a lot to like about Louisville. The thing about Plummer, he's got some picks involved there. And this Florida defense, let me tell you something, guys. It eats a lot, especially second half. You want to talk about a team turning up the notch and bringing the heat in the second half. You see what Florida did, what they did to the Gators in the second half, and they've done it all year long that way. So, look for some live betting opportunities for FSU in the second half in this game. And, I know a lot of sharps are on Louisville, plus the 2.5, and then the line has dropped. But I think Rodemaker is going to get better with this game. A little shaky in the first game. He's got all the weapons, Benson, Wilson, Coleman, defense is loaded. Just, I don't know. I think Louisville is going to, even though with Rodemaker in there, I think they're still up against it here. I think they bring the bacon home. I'm not going to stop now. Give me Florida State minus the 2.5.
Florida State minus 2.5 for the Big Ragoo. Let's see what DJ Big Boss thinks about the ACC championship. Take it away, boss.
Now, I look at this Louisville team as a TCU 2.0 here in 2023. They just have this amazing effort that they put towards what they do, and that's how they've been getting by. And it's great for a good team to slip up. They had to slip up against interstate rival or whatever. They also slipped up against Pitt early in the season, and those are learning curves for a team like this. And I think they don't have, like you said, they coming in here to try to shock the house. They got everything motivated to win. Whereas I believe Florida State is just trying to defend themselves. They're like, we got a little bit going on over here, but we still worthy of going to the playoffs, shall I say, because they're undefeated, right? So I'm taking Louisville, though. Louisville going to be the TCU to come in and dot that I and cross that T. It's going to be late, field goal. It's going to be some theatrics and all that good stuff in that game. So give me Louisville plus the 2.5.
Louisville plus 2.5 to put a bow on all of these conference championship games with our guys, the Boss and the Sauce Stars of the Who Bangin' Sports Network, plus 2.5. See if we can give you a low vig here, minus 105, plus 2.5, minus 105. Huge move to Louisville. So we have two spots where our guys are against each other. This is one of them. Ragoo on the Seminoles and Boss on Louisville. We'll get Boss here. Great work, you guys. We have NBA next. Let's review all action from our guys, Ragoo and DJ Big Boss. First off, DJ Big Boss and Ragoo are both on New Mexico State plus 11. That gets us started. Then Boss is on the first half over 33 in the Pac-12 championship, Oregon, Washington. Boss is on this is the other spot where they're against each other. It's the total of the Big 12 championship. Boss is on the over 55.5, Oklahoma State, Texas. Ragoo on the under 56.5 in that one. Then Ragoo's on the under 44 in the MAC championship. Justin McElvey, by the way, also on Louisville money line. But DC Capper says Louisville has nothing for Florida State. In the Mountain West Championship, they have correlated action. Boss on the first half over 28.5, while Ragoo's on the full game over 59. And Boss is also on UNLV moneyline plus 120. Then Ragoo is on Alabama plus 6.5 at minus 111 in the over 53.5 in the SEC Championship. They both stayed off the AAC Championship, SMU and Tulane. Ragoo's on App State moneyline plus 205. I'm going to be joining him there, but I will be taking the points. A little put safe, whatever gets you paid. Ragoo is on Iowa team total over 6.5. Iowa team total over 6.5 in the Big Ten Championship. Ragoo is on Florida State minus 2.5 and Boss on Louisville plus 2.5. And that is our show. DJ Big Boss, what's going on? Who banging right now. What can our guys look forward to over on your channel, my man? Oh, you're muted, my guy.
Well, you know, the Boston the Sauce is gonna be on as normal programming. We're not gonna do no gathered up pre-recorded show and put it out. We're just gonna go live each weekend with the games that come on. So you can come check us out for that. And you know, the whole team has got all kinds of stuff going on every day of the week. We got the fight champs, we got the DFS champs, we got all kinds of shows going on, and the live sweat and some other stuff. So yeah, we just keep it active going on. You know what I'm saying? Hang out and have some fun, man. That's what it's all about over here, man. Just hanging out, having some fun, catching some bets, man.
I love it. And please follow our guy, Big Boss, on X at DJ Big Boss. Big Ragoo, what's going on for you the next few days? We need you for NFL Pub Hub badly. You're going to be rocking with us.
Yeah. I'll be with my guy DJ on Saturday. Then I'll be right back in the rocking chair with you on Sunday to try to stack some more units to try to stretch my lead out. Hopefully, I know there's some people up there trying to bite me in the ass right now, but come on, bring it on, baby.
They're all coming for you. There he is, the Big Ragoo. What a treat to have the boss and the sauce here on Betting with the Bag. I love those two guys so much. And a question was asked for Ragoo if he's coming to Pubapalooza. Yeah, you're damn right he is, Troy. Ragoo will be at Pubapalooza, man. That's worth the trip. Just Ragoo being there for Pubapalooza. All right, it is time to get back to the hard court and roll back into NBA. My record on shows on Wednesday is very strong. Your expert here coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, he's had a couple bad bounces. He's had spots where he was definitely going to cash. One, I was with him with the Celtics last Wednesday, and is sitting at 10-10 early in the season, but with a couple bad bounces. I mean, they should legit be 12-8 on this one, and he has led me to the cash. I'm very excited about every Wednesday capping with your next guest coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, star of Medicate Mondays right here on Pub Sports Radio. Please welcome Mr. Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, what's good, my man? How are you?
Jimmy, the motherfucking bag. NBA is a hell of a drug. And you're looking at the plug. Yeah, man. Doing good, Jim. Doing good, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. I love when we have a schedule that isn't 14 or 13 games, you know, when we can deep dive with no pressure. So I really, really like this schedule here in front of us. I'm excited about attacking the board. You've given me a lot of confidence on these Wednesdays, and there's some really nice spots here today. So let's get right after it with your LA gear on. We start 7 p.m. Eastern with the Los Angeles Lakers 10-8, 3-6 on the road at the Detroit Pistons 2-15, 1-7 at home at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. I wait 20 games before I start doing the last 5 games pace stats. So we're almost at that point where I'll stop doing the full season. But we have full season pace right now. Lakers playing at 100.04 possessions a game. That's 15th in the league. While Detroit just a little faster, 100.82. It's 6th in the NBA. Let's get into the line history here. We'll start with the Pinnacle line moves. Pinnacle has the Lakers opening up at -7, and they're now at -7.5. From a total scenario, let's move over here and pull up the totals. From a total scenario, oh God, sorry, still on spread. Sorry about that. Let's move over to totals. We are sitting here with a 229.5, a 229. This opened at 229.5, got up to 230.5, and has dropped to 229.5. I've tried very, very hard to keep the totals just off of my action. It hurt me badly last year, and I've been trying very hard. Here we have injury issues. Of course, Vincent, Hachimura, and Vanderbilt out. But LeBron James, Cam Reddish, and AD all game time decisions. For Detroit, Harris and Bogdanovich out. But Cunningham, Ivy, Thompson, Stewart, Duran all ready to go here. And the Pistons have lost 14 straight games. I tried to get in the way of it on Friday. Was it Friday or was it Thursday? I tried to get in the way of it against the Pacers, and that blew up in my face. And they look good up until the half, and then they completely fell apart. The Lakers coming off getting embarrassed on Monday night against the Sixers, losing that game by 44 points, and Embiid putting up a triple-double. Pistons coming off the 126-107 loss on Monday night at home to the Wizards. That is our situation. Dutch Boy Fresh, take it away, Lakers Pistons.
Yeah, man. I will say, Jim, hey, it was quite a panel we had today. Shout out to the Big Ragoo, the DJ Big Boss, the whole crew, Daby Cab, Pimp Slap. I like your fit too. Last time I seen you, I believe it was Sunday night. This one's a little fresher than the is, homie.
That blew up in my face, man. Late touchdown cost me $1,000, and I'm dressed like an ass clown. Fuck,
Yeah,
never again.
Hey, well, at least you had some good content. But no, man. Yeah, I'm on the Lake Show, man. It's gonna be a Cali theme today. Believe it. You see the fit. You see what it is, and there's a reason for it, man. I was all over the Sixers the other night. It was, it was good money, man. It was really easy, kind of an easy read in my opinion. With the Sixers against the Lakers after the Lakers put it on. I don't want to say put it on the Cavaliers, but did what they needed to do, and that's LBJ getting a win in Cleveland. That meant a lot to him. I felt like they put a lot into that, and then put a lot into the Sixers. Now after getting smacked, like really backhanded by the Sixers, I knew I was going to be betting the Lakers next game, and then it just so happens I get the bummy ass Detroit Pistons on deck. So the Lakers have won 5 straight meetings versus these boys. I do believe AD is probable. He's going to play. LBJ is questionable every fucking game. He's going to play. Cam Reddish, I don't give a fuck what you do. 6-3 ATS as a favorite the Lakers are this year. Or excuse me, that's actually straight up. They are. So they play well as a favorite. They are 3-1 ATS last 4 on the road. And the Pistons, man, they're an auto fucking fade, especially of late. They're 1-7 straight up at home this year. They can't handle business. They're 3-5 against the number at the crib. And the last 5 losses, Jim, because they've lost quite a few fucking basketball games here in a row. Their last 5 losses will go back to 5 games. They're averaging 16 point per game loss average margin. So you get a pissed off Laker team, obviously a better team, obviously the more talented team. This is a D'Angelo Russell type of game. Maybe for Austin Reeves, gets off finally, does a little something, because man, that boy to me is just not that good. But I believe he'll be all right tonight. LBJ, the crew, it shouldn't take too much to beat these boys by double digits. Beautiful Lakers spot right here. I got the Lakers -6.5. Hopefully we can get a 7 out there. But yeah, I expect everybody to get off in Detroit, to be quite honest with you.
Did you have any interest in the first half as well, if they're this angry?
I might have. I should do that, but I went 4-1 yesterday, Jim. My only loss was the Bucks first half, so I'm a little salty with these fucking first half plays right now. So I do like it. I like it. It's a trifecta spot to me, honestly. Smack City. Shout out to our boy Jay. I honestly think these type of games are where you just. It was the same thing with Minnesota against the Grizzlies the other night. They're laying 7, right? Minnesota, a bad team on the road, but Memphis is dog shit. And you get a Timberwolves team that was pissed the fuck off after getting smacked at home by the Kings. Only difference is the Lakers were on the road in Philly. This is the same exact thing to me. So shout out to Nasty Nate. But yeah, I see this being a Lake show early and often. But I got the 6.5, and I'm very happy with it.
As you should be. 7's widely available. There are some 7.5s on the board. Saturated as Austin Reeves over 13.5 points. His Pistons allow the highest field goal percentage to the mid-range. Also fading Thompson under 22.5 PRA. Coming off the bench and misses PRA last 5. AD will give him trouble. K. Graham on the under 229.5. The chillest, though. The chillest. Fat Cat Ninja is on Detroit +7 in this one. And Mike M on the other side, he's on Thompson over a half 3-pointer +290. Lakers allow 4th most threes to that position. And all you have to do is say trifecta. That's all you have to say. And Nasty Nate appears. So Lakers -7, -108 for Dutch. It's got to be a bounce back spot, doesn't it? I'm curious, the Chillest, if you could just put a note or two why you're on Detroit here, because I'm interested
Probably the
in.
fact that people just don't see laying this type of number with the Lakers, but this is a good spot for the Lakers.
Just got embarrassed. Move on to the next game on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern. Washington Wizards 3-14, 2-8 on the road at the Orlando Magic. 12-5, 7-2 at home at Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Washington, the second fastest pace in the NBA. 103.88 possessions a game. Orlando 100.15, 14th fastest in the league. Let's get into the line history here for this one and talk about the cash flow as well. We didn't talk about the cash flow in that first game, and I apologize for that. Let's just touch on that one. 84% of the tickets, 64% of the cash on the Lakers, 84 and 64. And from a total side of things, 62 and 61 on the Lakers. Here for Washington, Orlando delivering for us 10-1 to win the division, 10-point favorites at home. Can you imagine that we've got, it's been 17 games this year, and Orlando are now double-digit favorites against any team in the NBA? It's wild.
It's crazy,
Opening
right?
up at 9.5, now at 10. From a total side of things, we're sitting at 234. This opened up at 233.5, now at 234. Did get up to 234.5. Actually, being U-shaped movement, it dropped down to 233 and come back up. From the cash flow scenario, on the total, 61% of tickets, 59% of cash on the over. And on the spread, you have 90% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on the Magic. And it's a half-point move. I mean, how much further can it possibly move at this point? I mean, I can't imagine it. God, I still can't even believe I'm seeing Orlando as 10-point home favorites, but they deserve to be winning games on a winning streak. They beat Charlotte at home by 13. They beat the Celtics. That one was absolutely blew up my face. That was on Friday, and I thought the game was starting at 3, so it started at 2:45. Now, I had a chance to get in live, but didn't get a chance to get in pregame in that one. But they're beating good basketball teams and running nice. But should they be 10-point favorites, Dutch? Take it away. Wizards, Magic.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, Saturated. I see you, my dude. He's like Kuzma under 23.5 points. DC Capper, my guy. Orlando first half. I mean, that's probably where I would go. 14-3 ATS first half this year. We talked about it. Bet on team all year long, especially in the first half. But I think this number's pretty sharp. Obviously, the Magic have won 7 straight. They're feeling ththemselves. Won the last 2 meetings against these Wizards by an average margin of 8.5 points per game. So right around the 10. 8-1 ATS at the house this year. The Magic are. However, the Wizards are 4-1 straight up the last 5 in Orlando. So take that for what you will. But I do think the Magic obviously win this game. I would lean first half more than full game, just because I just think, like you mentioned it a couple times in that breakdown, Jim. Magic being 10-point favorites, so just not something that I would sign up for. Would I be surprised if they cover? Absolutely not. But I do think this game could, I think it could fall inside the number. I think it's a pretty sharp number, honestly.
Yeah, I can't move on them as 10-point favorites, but I will cheer them on 7-2 at home at Amway. Move on to the next spot on the board, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns 11-6, 7-2 on the road at the Toronto Raptors, 8-10, 5-4 at home at Scotiabank Arena, Toronto, Ontario. And the Sweaty Butcher gave us the prime cut play of the day, and that is Toronto Phoenix under 226. Under 226. Raptors healthy group right now, and the Suns are not. Beal out. Durant and Grayson Allen are game time decisions, but Booker is good to go. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Toronto at +3 at -103. They opened up at +2, so we've had a 1-point move towards the Phoenix Suns. And let's take a look at that total. Prime cut gave us the best bet at 226. Right now it's at 226.5. This opened up at 223. We've gone up 3.5 points. There's Jacqueline in the house. Nice to see you, Jacqueline. And Von Polo on the Wizards +11. Top shelf on Wizards money line. DC Capper on Orlando first half. And K Graham on that under 234.5. Von Polo is on Booker points, rebounds, and assists over 41. The pace from these two teams bottom third in the league. Suns playing at 97.59 possessions. That's good for 27th, while Toronto 99.1. That is the 20th fastest pace. Let's get into the cash flow for this spot here. We have 76% of the tickets and 88% of cash on the over, and we have no information on. Oh, yes, we do. 91% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the Phoenix Suns on the spread. Wild. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Third game on the board, Suns Raptors.
Yeah, man, this is a game I have highlighted. Haven't bet it yet, but definitely a strong lean to the Suns here. I know we're not going to have no necessarily little Grayson Allen. I would like to be out there. They need him as a wing. He's questionable. I don't believe he practiced yesterday, but KD did practice. So KD, I believe, will play today. Obviously, Book has been unreal. What a shot he made against the Knickerbockers the other night. Toronto playing in the back-to-back situation, played last night, losing in Brooklyn in the interney game. Tough battle game, led by Scotty with 36 minutes. Everyone played a decent amount of minutes. But this is kind of where you want Toronto, right? In an underdog role against a good team. But I don't know, man. I think that, not in a back-to-back situation. And, they are 14-6 straight up last 20 at home. But they're 5-4 straight up this year at the crib and against the numbers. So that's coming back a little bit to reality. Most of them L's coming this year. And, they're 1-6 straight up last 7 as a dog, the Toronto Raptors are. So I look at it as you got a team in the Phoenix Suns. I believe KD will be back. Book is playing fucking out of his mind. You got Nurkic down low playing like a big boy. Not mad at anything with his rebounds or anything in that nature. They've won 7 straight. They've won 6 in a row on the road. They're 15-5 against the number last 20 meetings versus the Toronto Raptors. You got the 2 best players on the court. I mean, KD well rested after sitting the last 2. I haven't pressed the button yet because it's the NBA and we know the fuckery is close. It's right around the way. But yeah, man, I think it's the Suns or nothing here, Jim.
Yeah, I don't find the Raptors appealing. I do find 99% of the cash on the Suns appealing to fade, but I can't back the Raps in this spot. It just seems like a lot going against them. They've been a fine back-to-back team, and they've shone on back-to-back spots even this year. But I do not find that
big of a travel. My bad. It's not that much of a travel, right, from Brooklyn to Toronto.
No, but the border's always going to be a pain. The border's always annoying.
Yeah.
So, but not long travel at all. From it's an hour flight from New York.
Even for them luxury ass cats, you think they fuck with the Raptors?
No, but you hear the NBA players complain about it enough where they're like, I wouldn't sign in Toronto because the border and you hear them complain about it. So,
right.
There has to be something. If there's the smoke coming from it, there has to be, fire. But you would think that they would just, respect the spot but yeah, I don't know how it works. A lot of complaining about it. DC Capper on Phoenix -3. The fix is in. Says weird game here. Too many players in and out for him to mess with Phoenix. K Graham says how to only open at 1. And then North End Suns 7 wins in a row. Raps 3 straight. They just have 2 straight L's, don't they? The Raps, I thought 2 straight. But yeah, I don't find it appealing. Let's move on. Utah Jazz 6-11, 1-7 on the road at the Memphis Grizzlies 3-13, 0-8 at home. Look what's happened to this franchise. I mean, isn't it wild to see what's happened? And look at where they were a year ago to where they are right now. It's unbelievable. We're at FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee, where they've yet to win a game. Utah playing in the 11th fastest pace, 100.68 possessions a game, while Memphis 18th, 99.35 possessions a game. Memphis continues to deal with a ton of injuries. Smart, Tillman, Morant, Kennard, Clark. And Utah has Clarkson as a game-time decision, Kelly Olynyk, a game-time decision, and Markkanen out. It's too bad as soon as Kessler comes back that Markkanen we can't see them play together because John Collins has not worked like they thought it would. Let's take a look at the line history here and the cash flow. Shoot, that's wrong. Here we go. What the hell is it? All right, here we go. There it is. Sorry. From a total scenario here, we are dealing with a 223 and a half. 223 and a half. This opened up at 223, got up to 223 and a half. That's where it is right now. And from a side look, we have Memphis as 4.5-point favorites. 4.5-point favorites. They open up as 4-point favorites, and we've moved a point towards them. Look, I tried to back Memphis at home in a game, and it didn't work out for me. They're coming off that blowout loss to Minnesota, losing by 22 points. They've lost by double digits in 3 straight, the last 2 coming at home. And the Jazz just beat the Pelicans at home on Saturday and Monday. And look to be turning it around. This is another very fishy line. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Jazz, Grizzlies.
Yeah, man, this game's pretty fucked up, to be quite honest with you. I broke it down for you, though. This shit with the Grizzlies is pretty crazy. I mean, they have lost both meetings this year already in Utah. They lost both meetings in Utah. So they're 0-2 this year versus the Jazz earlier this season. Lost 4 straight basketball games. 0-8, as you mentioned, at the crib. 2-8 against the number last 10. And the Jazz have been playing, better basketball, as you touched on it. I mean, they're 6-2 against the number last 8. You got guys that can kind of put the ball in the bucket, all around from, the young bull off the bench. You got Sexton, you got THT who can catch fire, Jordan Clarkson. I mean, you got quite a bit of guys led by Lauri Markkanen who could pretty much put the ball in the bucket. I mean, even Olynyk can catch fire. But this team really has no defense. I just think, man, damn, the Grizzlies lost 8 in a row at the crib. I mean, they're bound to win a motherfucking game in Memphis. They're bound to grind one out eventually. Might be this time, but I don't know, man. The Jazz 6-0 ATS last 6 meetings. They're 15-5 straight up last 20 meetings versus the Memphis Grizzlies. But if you're gonna fade the Jazz, you fade them on the road. They're 1-7 straight up they're 1-7 straight up on the road, this year. 2-6 against the number on the road, and 1-10 straight up last 11 overall on the road. So if you're gonna fade Utah, maybe tonight's the night. Getting points with the dog. But man, Jaren Jackson has been bummy. Bane has kind of came back to reality as well, but really he's really all they got out. I mean, the injuries have deflated this team like a motherfucker. So yeah, I mean, eventually gonna win one at the crib. I don't know if it'll be tonight, but the value is definitely on Memphis.
I feel like we have to bet Memphis here. I can't, we're sitting here with 69% of the tickets and 89% of cash on the Utah Jazz against a team that hasn't won at home. I mean, this is when the market gets fishy, man.
Yeah.
So
I'm not betting them, Jim, but I definitely think they're the right side,
Ugh. I hate that I have to do this. God, I have to do this. Bismack Biyombo. God, it hurts my eyes watching him play basketball.
Yeah, you need fuck. I don't mean, hopefully Luke Kennard's out there that he can get hot. The YMCA,
He's out.
Is he out too? Fuck
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, I'm telling you, like, you look at it, you're just like, how did this team come to this? I mean, the injury report is got a better squad than their actual team. So hopefully Jock can come back and make them relevant again.
I have to take the Grizzlies here. K. Graham says 3rd straight home game for the Grizz. Being home for almost a week, no travel, double revenge, public on Jazz. Yeah, K. Graham, I have to bet it. You're forced here. Oh, this is not going to be enjoyable. Yeah, Deshaun G, I can't, man. When you're doing this for so long, these are the spots where, and they're not as common anymore. But these are the spots where you're just like, oh, come on. The books are begging you to take Utah. Nutplushan saying the team total over from Memphis as well. He's been cashing on those team total overs against the Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz is light as fuck on the defense end. I mean, Kessler's not out there, and they have nobody. Like, nobody's playing defense.
When I see Biyombo walk to the foul line, I just cringe. The only reason why he got the first big contract of his life, anyways, was because of 30 games he played up here for us, where he looked so good. Then Orlando signed him to that huge contract. That was just ridiculous. All right, I have to be on the Grizzlies. Do I also move on their team total over? I'll have to see how much action I have in NBA because I would like to roll with Dutch on the Lakers -7. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern. We have the Philadelphia 76ers 12-5, 5-2 on the road at the New Orleans Pelicans. 9-9, 6-4 at home. Pelicans just lost, as we just talked about, to the Jazz in Utah in back-to-back games on Monday and Saturday. And the Sixers just destroyed the Lakers at home by 44. So it's a kind of a tricky spot. Both teams' last games were on Monday night. Let's get into the spread here in this one. We have Philadelphia sitting as 2.5-point road favorites. They opened up at 1.5, now sitting at 2.5. And from a total perspective, we are sitting here with, oh God, got this screwed up. My fault. Let's get over the totals. Annoying. From a total perspective, we are sitting here at a 230.5. 230.5. This opened up at 229.5, but it got up to 231.5 before there was buyback and cash flow here for this one. 77% of tickets, 66% of the cash on the Sixers. 50% of tickets, 68% cash on the under. Is this? I mean, there's no chance that I back a team after a huge statement victory like they just had. But does that mean that we move on the Pelicans to bounce back here, Dutch? From an injury side of things, McCollum game time decision, Troy Murphy game time decision, and for the Sixers, Oubre out, but everybody, house out, but they're all good to go. Take it away for us here, Sixers, Pelicans.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, LJ from H-Town Trilogy. Play is Denver first quarter -2.5. I like that. Yeah, man. This game is extremely tough to me. I'm not in the business of standing in front of the Philadelphia 76ers right now. I like what they got going on. I think they're a bet-on team. They'll be a bet-on team in the regular season, and probably until it really counts. I like the Sixers. I like their additions they made off the bench. But they're fat and happy right now, man. I mean, they just punked the LA Lakers. But Maxi's just unguardable when he wants to penetrate, and these guys can get hot from three. Tobias is playing like one of the better threes in the league right now. If he's your third option, you're gonna be pretty damn good. They got Reed the bully off the bench, and Joe Embiid's playing at an MVP level. So it's hard to bet against them. But man, you got a team that's covered 5 straight at the crib. In the Pelicanos, 7-3 at the crib against the number this year. They have the talent. They get the juice with CJ coming back from his first game back. You say, oh, the star come back. He ain't really a star. They got 3 pretty much guys that are all think they're the guy. CJ, BI, and obviously Zion, who thinks he's really the guy, and he's he's not who we think he is, but he's playing actually good basketball. He attacks the hole. Really only got one move, and it's just go to the hole, and it's working for him. He's rebounding the ball as well, especially of late. But man, it's just like I said, Jim. I think the Sixers are a better basketball team. They've been covering at a crazy rate all year, and I don't really know. I know they're getting CJ back. If he was maybe game 2 or 3 back, I probably would be on the Pelicanos here. But his first game back, and they still kind of got a little bit of injuries. I'm gonna stay off this game, but yeah, it's a tough, intriguing basketball game.
Well, this certainly was not the plan coming in, but I have to bet the Pelicans here. I'm not going to bet it after the show. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah,
but this is, if the Sixers can beat the Lakers at home by 44, travel to an angry Pelicans team and beat them here, then I will risk my money on that. The whole world is going to be on the Sixers. Right now, we had. Sorry, look, like I'm not trying to outsmart anybody, and these aren't all this could be 0-2, but this is just what I feel like you have to do to beat the NBA. 77% of the tickets are on the Sixers. That's going to just go up.
Right. I mean, I have 3 bets on this card, so that's a lot for me. but I like, I do like the Suns as well. So, I could make a case for every play on this game. But this game and the Grizzlies game were the two that I just said I don't need to get in the way of, because I'm going against a powerhouse in the Philadelphia 76ers, and obviously the Grizzlies are fucking pretty ass. But yeah, I like where you're going. I like where you're going.
Yeah, I have to. It's just this has worked pretty well so far this year. If I cut out my totals, my ROI is gross so far this year. So sometimes you have to make the moves that you don't want to. I find in NBA. We'll see how it all works out. We bet it, deal with consequences, and we have our record to show for it. So we'll see how it works. Mike M says Sixers 8-0 against spread, small way favorite over on a total over 210, covering by double digits. Mike, I'd wonder what that stat would look like if they're coming off a 40-point victory or a 30-point victory. You could even cut it down to a 30-point victory. I'd be curious to see how that changes. Now you'd have to probably use the longer sample size. I'd be very curious about it. I have to move on the Pelicans.
Imagine that, Mikey giving us a fucking Philly stat, huh? This guy.
All right, let's move on. We got 2 games left on this card. Let's move on to the next one. And LJ from H-Town got to start with the Trill OG play today. And it is the Nuggets first quarter minus 2.5 and Jokic triple-double. Jokic triple-double plus 150. Let's get into this one here. The Rockets 8-7, but 0-6 on the road. At the Denver Nuggets 12-6 and 8-0 at home. Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. We last saw the Rockets last night, so they're on the second half of a back-to-back. So you're going into altitude. This is a really tricky spot for the Rockets. Coming off that 121-115 loss at Dallas last night. The Nuggets 113-104 victory at the Clippers, their second straight win. So not only do the Nuggets have a rest advantage, but they went to Houston and lost. We were on the Rockets in that one. That was a very fishy line. We moved on the Rockets. Rockets won 105-86. So is there Rebenga also in play? And then, of course, Jamal Murray. Is he going to be on the court? A lot of people expect him to be there. So let's see. But the Gordon game time decision, Jokic game time decision, Watson game time decision, Murray game time decision. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Our second to last game on the card. Denver minus 7.5 at minus 109. They opened up at 7. They're now at 7.5. From a total side of things here, we have it. We have it sitting at 215.5, juice to the under. This opened up at 217 and it moved up initially before it started dropping. And then from a cash flow side of things, we have 86% of the tickets, 66% of the cash on the Nuggets, but line moving a half point towards them. Only 14% of the tickets, but 34% cash on the Rockets, and then 91-70 on the over. So 9% of the tickets and 30% cash on the under, and the market moving there. So here we go. Up 5 says if everybody plays, he is on Houston. Houston pace 28th in the league, 97.09 possessions a game, while Denver 26th in the league, 98.03 possessions a game. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Rockets, Nuggets.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like that stat a lot better, Mike. But yeah, check. I like the Nuggets an awful lot here. I got it last night at 5.5. So obviously the line moved because I assumed Joker and Gordon were coming back. I didn't think Murray was going to come back, but obviously he's looking like he can come back too. But this is a bet on spot right here for the Denver Nuggets. I do think they carried the juice over too from Reggie Jackson dropping 35 in LA and the B team going to beating the Clippers the other night. I think the role players carry that back over. Reggie's still feeling himself. These guys coming in now, the role will diminish obviously a little bit, but home at the crib, they'll still get their minutes. I look for them to have ultra confidence tonight and carry it over from a big win in LA without all their horses. So obviously the role players are going to do their thing. We know what we get out of Joker. Aaron Gordon being back is obviously going to help the defense, rebounding, all that. But as you mentioned, they're 8-0 straight up this year at the crib, 5-3 against the number at the house. They've won against the Houston Rockets 9 straight times at the house. All right, but they have lost 2 this year. So this is like double revenge spot right here. They lost, especially coming off November 24th, which wasn't that motherfucking long ago. They lost by 19 points in Houston. And prior to that, they had lost November 12th in Houston as well. So you get them back at the crib. You get your guys back, and you get a tired Houston team, which I faded yesterday. Maybe got a little bit lucky with the late call, but it was Luka the motherfucking Don. It was Kyrie. You know what it was at the end. They did what they did. They're closers. You got two of the best closers in the league. They're not letting the fucking Houston Rockets come into town and beat them. And they're not going to do, and the Joker and the boys aren't going to allow it either. The Rockets, as you mentioned, you could fade these boys on the road, Jim. They're 0-6 on the road, 3-3 against the number. And they're led by Van Fleet last night with 40 minutes in this back-to-back against a tough in-state rival tourney game against the Dallas Mavericks, which they were up. And, of course, Luka and Kyrie had to shut the motherfucking door. So I believe the legs will give out here a little bit towards the end, and the altitude. This is Denver Nuggets all motherfucking day. So I don't know. Obviously, I have 5.5. Very confident with that. But I do believe this will be a double-digit basketball game.
So what do you want to do then? And I hate that you have to deal with this and respect it as well. Giving out lines that you can bet immediately. Do you want the 7 at -120?
Man, last time I left it off last week was the Timberwolves, and they won by 20 because I didn't want to take a bad number. So yeah, we'll I don't want to. I feel the same way about this game. So yeah, we'll lock that in, man. Fuck it.
The 7.
Yeah, we'll lay the touchdown. I'm not laying the hooker.
-7 and -120 for Dutch here on the Nuggets. Does feel like a slam dunk spot here, doesn't it? All right, let's move on to the final spot on the board. LA Clippers 7-9, but just 2-6 on the road. Sacramento Kings 10-6, 5-1 at the Golden One Center. Clippers are playing the 21st fastest pace in the league, 98.95 possessions a game, while Sacramento 13th at 100.60 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Our final spot on the board. We have Sacramento as 2-point dogs here. 2-point dogs. They opened up as 1.5-point dogs. Another half point here. From a total side of things, we are sitting here at 231. Opened up at 231, got up to 232, 231.5, but we're now sitting at 231. North Ender saying leaning towards the Clippers here. Now we have the Kings on a back-to-back after an emotional victory. Now they didn't have to travel, beating the Warriors 124-123, now beating Minnesota and Golden State back-to-back. And Clippers coming off that 113-104 loss at home to Denver on Monday. So a big rest advantage here. Now, the Kings did have some rest before that emotional victory over the Warriors. A real message, really trying to send a message here. And then when we take a look at the, they're a pretty healthy group. I mean, Key Murray, game time decision, and then Plumlee out for the Clippers. What do you think here, Dutch? Clippers, Kings?
Yeah, man. See, you say you had to do it with the motherfucking Grizzlies and the Pelicanos. Well, goddamn it, I gotta do it with the LA Clippers. They let me down the other night. They did against the Denver Nuggets B squad. But they got, man, that was an embarrassing loss. Shout out to Deshaun in the chat. He says it. Also says hit the like button, man. Hit the motherfucking like button. Let's get them likes up. We're gonna hit them straight over the motherfucking head today. Believe it in the association. And this is one of my better plays. Even though I really don't like betting on the Clippers, to be quite honest with you. But come on, man. I watched that entire game with the Warriors and Kings last night. Shout out to Monk with the big shot at the end. But man, they exerted a lot of energy. Down 24 points. Outscored them by 10 in the fourth quarter to win that game, 124-123, I believe. Big win for Sacramento, man. They're in cruise control tonight. They are at the crib. You get a pissed off basketball team who's lost 3 straight actually to the Sacramento Kings. And remember, it's not too far down the road, Sacramento, where usually they have handled business. 17-2 last 19 in Sacramento. The LA Clippers are. Obviously, I don't know if you guys remember the game last year, 175-176, crazy basketball game. They lost that game by 1. and then about a month later lost another game by 1 to the Sacramento Kings. So both games have been nail biters, 1-point losses the last two. Prior to that, they've won 17 motherfucking times in Sacramento. They win this basketball game tonight. Fox played 40 minutes last night. Sabonis played 36, but it's who they played against. It was the tourney. It was the juice they had to give out to win that basketball game. And you got a Clippers team that has won 4 out of the last 6. Russ going to the bench. I mean, if you look at it now, if James Harden could play somewhat decent basketball, coming off somewhat of a bummy ass basketball game himself, but everyone did, especially PG. I'm not going to bet the over 24.5, but I'm not mad at it by any means. He had probably his worst basketball game he's had this year. Bummy as fuck. Look for him to bounce back in a big way. But I like the bench too. I like that Russ just went to the bench. The addition of Thies, however you want to fucking say his name. They needed another guy to get some big man minutes off of Zubac, and they got that. They got obviously Norman Powell, and then obviously led by Russell Westbrook, and PJ Tucker. So they got 4 pieces off the bench. Russ is playing solid off the bench. There's no reason why they shouldn't beat a basketball team who I don't believe gives a fuck about it, and they should definitely be pissed off. Led by Kawhi, PG, go into Sacramento and get the motherfucking win. I got -1.5 last night, Jim. -2 is good money.
You can get money line minus. You can get money line at minus 120 if you want.
Yeah. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's do it. I got 1.5. So
I agree with you. Clippers are a must bet here. They're an absolute must bet. Must bet.
Yeah, it's LA, man. It's Cali today. Believe it. It's the Lakers. It's the motherfucking Clippers. We like it. We like it, man. We like it an awful lot. And obviously, we're going mile high. And Phoenix would be Phoenix could be the 4th play. I might get there with Phoenix as well.
My question right now is: these are the must bets for me: Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Clippers. Do I also add the Nuggets and the Lakers, which I completely see and understand? But are they at the point where they're must bets? I mean, 5 bets. I don't mind. I used to have no problem opening up the quantity of action, but I've been trying to keep it kind of less of late.
I mean, if you want to number it down, you can take the Nuggets off because you're getting a fucking not as good of a number. But the Lakers is still pretty much where I got it at last. I got 6.5 -115 for the Lakers, and it's not that big of a difference, 5.5 to 7.5, 7.5 is a big difference.
No, it is a big difference, but it just feels like a smash and grab. A DC capper and other cappers, and we know the public will, not worry about the second half of a back-to-back after an emotional victory. Very much worry. I don't care if there's no travel.
No. And it was the Warriors, man. They lost 2 straight to these boys already this year. Tough basketball games. In tourney. Obviously, we see these boys care about this in tourney. These games are coming down a lot more. Obviously, couldn't say that in Boston, but most of these games are competitive. And, I think the Clippers were embarrassed by that loss, and you're going to get a tired basketball team who just doesn't give a fuck tonight. I really believe that.
I like it. Let's review all action. Dutch Boy Fresh, Lakers -7 at -108. He is on the Nuggets -7 at -120. Again, he got much better. He got 6.5 and 5.5 respectively. Then he's on the Clippers -120. He may make a move on the Suns. I'll keep an eye out for it if you do. For me, I've got to decide about the Lakers Nuggets. I'll decide that right now, but I will be on the Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Clippers here. I will be on. Yeah,
a big NBA day, baby. It's a big NBA Wednesday.
Yeah, DC, this is just not a normal situation. In any normal situation, both teams were off last night. Now, maybe if still Sacramento coming off that huge victory. That's all. But now they actually did it last night. I mean, this is a must bet for the Clippers.
Anything can happen, man. Obviously, DC on the other side, anything can happen. But these are spots that you want to be on, in my opinion. And there just so happens to be 4 or 5 of them on a 6-game card.
A 2-6 road team that's the favorite against a team that's 5-1 at home. I mean, connect the dots there. The books are opening up their arms to Kings money. Now, maybe you can still cash with the Kings, as Dutch says. I mean, these are not, this is just how we believe you succeed long term in the NBA. Dutch, thank you for rocking with us. We have the star of Medicate Mondays right here on Betting with the Bag, Dutch Boy Fresh. Follow him on X at Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, any last words to the Cappers supporting the show?
Yeah, I appreciate the love, Jim. Always nice vibing out with you and the whole motherfucking crew right here at PSR. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this motherfucking video. Y'all stay fresh.
There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh. Let's do a quick review of all action here on the show. In NHL, I'm on Columbus -1 at +126. The Rangers -1 at -130. Also, the Red Wings team total under 2.5 -106. And then I'm on the Kings -1 at -145. There we go. That's NHL. In college basketball, Justin McElvey stacks play today's Detroit Mercy +7. Cab gave us North Carolina money line, Texas A&M money line, Duke first half -2.5. Then Mikey M gave us Lipscomb. We were told that the idea that we had on the game, like I was a little too focused. I should have just moved on it with you guys, but we were told that not only did Lipscomb win, let me just make sure they covered before I start bragging about my friend Mikey. Let's get over here. We have the live betting the over when we said to do it. Looks like that cashed as well. We have, we go, get to the bottom. And wow, easy victory, 82-68. And the live over, you just crushed. I mean, we crushed that live over by 25 points. Lipscomb won by 12. Beautiful. There's Juan Ruiz in the house. Mike M says likes that Columbus -1 a lot. Let's have a huge day. Yeah, I like. Look, there's certain sports where I have no problem being square. Just one actually, hockey, NHL. I tried for 12 hours not to be on each of these home favorites on the -1 line. 12 hours I tried to. So then for Mikey, starts today with Lipscomb -2.5. Cash raise on UC Irvine +5.5 and the money line. Alabama A&M +7. Colorado +3. New Mexico -7. Eastern Washington +17.5. Those all look very good to me. I've got to make some decisions right now. Then Big Boss is on New Mexico State +11. Ragoo's also with him on that. Boss is on first half over 33 in the Pac-12 championship. Boss is on the over 55.5 in the Big 12 championship. Ragoo's on the under 56.5. That's when they're going up against each other. Ragoo's on the under 44 in the MAC championship. He's on the full game over 59 in the Mountain West championship. Boss is on the first half over and UNLV money line. Ragoo's on Alabama +6.5 in the over 53.5. They both stayed off the AAC championship. Ragoo's on App State. I want to get on that. Ragoo's on Iowa team total over 6.5. I'm interested in that. Ragoo's on Florida State -2.5, while Boss on Louisville +2.5. Then in NBA, we just went over all that. This was a long one. Maybe this was a long one. Nothing like our 4-hour show from what was that just last week? But this was a long one. And our NFL videos are up in action. Bankroll Blitz also are hitting the books. All those videos are being cut and edited by our Jose Bouquet, who's on the 1s and 2s right here. We have a big Cappers contest show tomorrow. Our 4-week winning streak came to an end, 2-3 last week. So we basically need to win out, man. We need a monster week next week to have a shot, to have some hope. 3 of us left in the Cappers contest survivor pool. In the survivor pool. In the Cappers contest, we have a new leader. Sharpie is our new leader. We have nothing without you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Philly Eagle Flyer. Philly Eagle Flyer says the 3 NHL games, the only one he sees is Wings possibly winning. You know, if they can come together without Dylan Larkin, you know, Dylan Larkin would be on the MVP ballots if the season ended right now. So if they can win without Dylan Larkin, and that's the worst group of 4 with Larkin out of the lineup, they have the worst 4 centermen in the league. If they can come together and handle that, then God bless them. And we see NBA teams do that, but can hockey teams do that with Adam Fox returning for the Rangers? A 5-2 victory is what I expect, and that's why I couldn't take the under, even though I would have taken it. It moved from 6.5 to 6 when I thought it was still going to go up. I kind of screwed up there, but so I like the Red Wings team total under. I think they're going to play hard, but can they deliver? I don't know. The chillest, DC Capper, Billy Friedrich. And DC Capper, I love hearing your looks throughout the show and, you know, being on the other side. I don't want to be on some of them. I don't think I'm on very many. We love hearing your action. North Ender, my friend, Mikey M, Juan Ruiz, Gold 44, Kongs Clips, Kelly McInnes. Kelly, thank you for that dono earlier. Voodoo Ranger said they took Paul George rebounds assist off the board. Indicates a good look if you still have it. You're right, Voodoo. Billy Friedrich, Nut Flush, Allen, Caddy, Daddy, Thank you guys. Thank you for your support, man. We got our guy Astute Chaos, Dav Fenn, Von Polo, K Graham, Deshaun G. It was a great group. Ramon Scott. Thank you guys for your support. Now it's time to go out there and get that cash. Nasty Nate, Troy Torrance, Saturated, the fixes in, all of you guys. Let's go out there and get paid in full. That's what we do now. I've got to add some action. Let's get that cash, man. Stakes are high. We must win. Thank you guys so much for your support. But most importantly, let's go milk these bookies, man. Watch it! Those bookies.